Chapter 2280. 2280 sea monsters attacked the city. Come here, put more blood on its heart and let the ice drill alligator absorb it. Only after it has familiarized itself with your aura can it listen to you. Wang Xian took out the ice drill alligator and said to Invincible in battle tactics. As for the need to put more blood on it, it was purely because he was unhappy with the middle-aged man and did it on purpose. Do it as you wish. The middle-aged man didn't mind at all. As long as he could have the ice drill alligator as his mount, what was a little blood? The process of taming the ice drill crocodile was a little longer than the others. It took a few hours. Moreover, Invincible in battle techniques was also afraid that the ice drill crocodile would run away. He pestered Wang Xian to help him increase his relationship with the ice drill crocodile. Wang Xian didn't reject him. This middle-aged man still had a lot of room for him to make use of. Haha, awesome. I'm invincible in battle techniques. With the level 5 ice drill crocodile as my battle pet, I can roam the world. In the greater world, in the entire universe, I will be the supreme. 10 hours later, Invincible in his battle techniques stood on the ice drill alligator and laughed maniacally. The ice drill alligator, which was about 2,000 meters long, emitted a cold and violent aura. The Invincible in his battle techniques stood on it. Indeed, he had the temperament of a heaven's favorite who stood above everything and dared to compete with the greater world. Come here and be a Chinibyu. Add something to your brain so that I can collect my debt in the future. Wang Xian told Invincible battle technique. If he wanted the AI, he would trick it to come and work next time. Collect the debt? Ichimpich, how could I, Invincible battle technique, owe you? I will return it to you very soon. Invincible battle technique raised his head slightly and landed beside Wang Xian. He took out the AI. Beep, beep, beep. However, just as he turned on the AI on his arm, a red alert suddenly sounded on the AI. The notifications kept ringing. Invincible battle technique was slightly stunned, and a serious expression appeared on his face. He immediately began to check. Oh no, Tianbei High City has been attacked by sea monsters. He looked at the message asking for help, and his expression changed slightly. He immediately looked at the place and found that it was not far from Tianbei High City. They had been chased for tens of millions of kilometers and had already fled to the edge. Boss Wang, a small city in the land of battle tactics, has encountered an attack from sea monsters. I want to rush over immediately. Invincible battle tactics said with a grave tone. Oh, then you can leave with an AI. Wang Xian nodded his head. Boss Wang, we are comrades after all. Let's go, come with me. Invincible battle tactics rolled his eyes and pulled Wang Xian along as he said. It's okay to go and take a look. If I encounter danger, I'll leave immediately. Sure. Wang Xian didn't reject being pulled onto the ice drill crocodile by Invincible battle technique. He wanted to see if he could get any benefits from the sea monsters attacking the city. Invincible battle technique ice drill, charge. Invincible battle technique stood on top of the ice drill crocodile's head and ordered loudly. Wang Xian was speechless. Ice drill battle technique. This name. The monster attack has just started. The strongest one is only an Eternal Lord level 5 sea monster. Fortunately, it's still okay. Speed up, Invincible battle technique ice drill. Invincible battle technique stood on top of it. He looked at the information on the AI and shouted loudly. Can't the strongest level 5 Eternal Sea monster withstand the attack? Wang Xian looked at him and asked curiously. Tianbei Haicheng is just a small city in the most remote part of the battlefield. There are only 1 million people in there. It's relatively remote and hasn't been attacked by sea monsters for thousands of years. Right now, there's an Eternal Lord level 5 guy guarding the city. FUCK, he's not even as invincible as me in terms of combat techniques. The AI will inform everyone within a radius of 50,000 kilometers. If you can send reinforcements, send them. We're not too far away from here. Today, I'm invincible in terms of combat skills and my savior. He raised his head slightly and stared at the area in front of him. His face was filled with arrogance. The ice drill alligator was very fast. Wang Xian stood in the sky and looked ahead. He flew out of the extremely cold northern region which was covered by glaciers and continued to advance forward. Boom, 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 roar, roar, walala. 5 minutes later, a city appeared in their line of sight. This city was indeed a small city in the Tianzi continent. However, there was clearly a problem ahead. In the sky, an incomparably huge hurricane was swirling. The hurricane was incomparably terrifying as it slowly advanced forward. All the buildings were instantly destroyed by the hurricane. Below, millions of sea monsters were roaring below. In the middle, a few sea monsters that looked like giant octopuses were wreaking havoc. Each of them was more than 10,000 meters in size. On the city wall, the metal cannons were shooting out streams of terrifying energy to bombard the area below. However, half of the city wall had already been destroyed by a giant octopus. Demon Scroll Octopus, a level 5 Demon Scroll Octopus of the Eternal Lord. There are still 5 of them. Wang Xian looked over and frowned slightly. Right in front of him, an old man and a Demon Roll Octopus were fighting with their lives on the line. In the surroundings, the sea monsters charged towards the Steel City and fought with the experts guarding the city. In the middle there were already thousands of corpses. There are 70 to 80 Eternal Lord level sea monsters. Wang Xian took a glance at the sea monsters. Their strength was several times more than that of Tianbei Haicheng. On the city wall, there were still many people holding high-tech weapons. They were attacking the sea monster with an embarrassed expression. The rescue has been sent out. If the strong ones don't come, our Tianbei city will be destroyed. Even if it isn't destroyed by the sea monster, it will be destroyed by this hurricane. On the city wall, there were more than 10,000 people holding high-tech weapons. An old man said with a heavy tone, "Oh no, there's another sea monster over there. It's the ice drill alligator. Why is the ice drill alligator here? Isn't this kind of sea monster in the extremely cold sea?" Someone noticed an ice drill alligator flying over, and his expression changed drastically. The hearts of the surrounding people also sank, and despair appeared on their faces. "You bunch of animals, how dare you invade my land of battle techniques? I'm invincible in battle techniques and today, I'll destroy you bunch of damn animals." A furious roar came from the position of the ice drill alligator. This is? At this moment, everyone from Tianbei Haicheng was slightly stunned. Invincible in battle techniques? Could it be that young master? What's the situation with the ice drill alligator? That young master's pet. No, that young master can't suppress a pet of this level, right? Some people looked over with confused faces. "Boss Wang, there are 5 level 5 Eternal Masters. Help us defend against 3 of them." At this moment, Invincible, who was standing on the ice drill croc, noticed the sea monsters on the battlefield. He spoke to Wang Xian with his strength. "The risk is too great. 5 level 5 Eternal Masters elixirs." Wang Xian said calmly. "Boss Wang, we humans are showing weakness in the Tianzi continent. When we encounter sea monsters we should 10 level 5 Eternal Lord elixirs." "What the fuck? Alright, 5 then. But Boss Wang, you have to hold on. Alright, you are an array master. It's best for you to defend the city and wait for reinforcements." "Boss Wang, summon the other ice drill crocodile." Invincible battle technique said with a dark face. Following that, he waved his arm and a small particle flew above him. Wang Xian flew to the side and another ice drill alligator appeared beneath him. He raised his head and looked at the small particle that was aiming at him. It seemed to be a video recording particle. Was this guy trying to record his heroic appearance? Chapter 2281. 2281 000 Wolves roared. "A bunch of beasts invading my battlefield, asking me if I'm invincible." The video particles floated above Invincible, and he began to shout. "Battle tactic ice drill, kill." Woo-woo. He moved his arm and a silver-white longsword appeared in his hand. The ice drill crocodile beneath him let out an angry roar and flew towards the city wall. Bang bang bang. Countless ice arrows shot towards the sea monster below. Invincible young master. The elder who was fighting with the magic scroll octopus looked over, his face filled with shock and joy. "With my invincible battle technique today, these beasts will not be able to break through the city." Invincible battle technique shouted with a dignified face. "It's really that invincible young master." Hiss, this young master actually used an adult ice drill crocodile as his mount. He's so powerful. He's worthy of being called invincible young master. Look at the back. There's another ice drill crocodile. There's a young man on it. Is he also the young master of the land of battle techniques? On the city wall, everyone was shocked when they saw Invincible of battle techniques riding on the ice drill crocodile's mount. Some of them looked at invincible battle technique, Wang Xian and the rest, and heaved a sigh of relief. Boss Wang, hurry up and help. You are the one who received the reward. Invincible battle technique transmitted his voice to Wang Xian, asking him to take action immediately. Wang Xian rolled his eyes. This fellow now owed him 15 grade 5 Master God elixirs. However, he didn't hesitate. With a move of his body, the ice drill crocodile beneath him attacked the ground below. He flew directly toward the city wall. Roar! At the location below, the demon roll octopuses saw the ice drill alligator attacking them. They let out a roar and charged toward the ice drill alligator directly. Retreat and defend the city wall, Boss Wang. Quick, quick, it's up to you. Riding on the ice drill alligator, Invincible was shocked when he saw the two demon roll octopuses attacking him. He quickly shouted loudly. In the end, he didn't forget to shout at Wang Xian. He knew what he was capable of. He still had to rely on Wang Xian in this battle to defend the city. After all, he was a formation master. Formation good weather. Wang Xian landed on the city wall and ignored Invincible. With a wave of his arm, he immediately began to set up a formation. Tian Beihai Cheng, who was on the city wall, looked over. But Wang Xian used his water elemental energy to set up a formation in the void. Very soon, drops of rain fell from the sky. The rain seemed to have been attracted and fell toward the hurricane in front of him. Countless drops of rain began to resist the hurricane, causing its speed to slow down gradually. He used his water elemental energy to suppress the hurricane. After more than 10 seconds, Wang Xian's formation was completely completed. Formation wall of 10,000 miles. Following that, Wang Xian continued to cast the formation and landed on the city wall below him. Boom, boom, boom. A city wall of 500 kilometers was erected and a line of defense was erected in front of him. Hiss, this lord is a formation master, a powerful formation master. Formation master, it will be much easier for us with a formation master around. This wall of 10,000 miles can withstand the attack of the eternal lord sea monster. Everyone from Tian Beihai Cheng looked over with excitement on their faces. They looked at Wang Xian with gratitude on their faces. Retreat and defend. Wait for reinforcements. The invincible voice continued to ring out. He immediately ordered the ice drill crocodile to hide behind. Pa, 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 pa. However, at this moment, the two magic scroll octopuses wrapped their tentacles around the ice drill crocodile. Roar, roar. The ice drill alligator that was entangled revealed an angry expression. It roared furiously and continued to fight. Boss Wang, quick, quick, give me some support. You still have so many war pets in your hands. Let's fight. Invincible battle technique lay on the body of the ice drill alligator and tried his best not to be hit. However, the two magic scroll octopuses were wrapping around his ice drill alligator. Injuries still appeared on the ice drill alligator's body. Trash. Wang Xian spoke to Invincible in disdain and immediately set up the formation. Boom. At this moment, the last devilish tornadoes that were not entangled landed a huge attack on the wall of the formation. The terrifying attack caused the wall of the formation to tremble. Formation 5 True Fire, Incinerate. Wang Xian's arm condensed the formation for more than 10 seconds and headed towards the invincible support of the battle formation. Following that, Wang Xian continued to set up the formation. In the sky, an incomparably huge and terrifying heavenly blade slowly condensed. Boom. At the position below, the demonic tornado octopus continued to attack the wall of 10,000 miles. Cracks slowly appeared on the wall of 10,000 miles. Formation Heavenly Blade Slash. Wang Xian waved his arm and the huge golden heaven saber condensed in the sky attacked the demon-like octopus below. The Formation Master's formation is indeed powerful, but it's too much of a waste of time. It's much weaker than a personal battle. Wang Xian mumbled and continued to set up the formation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. From below, Heaven's saber slash attacked the demon-like octopus continuously and cut off one of its huge tentacles. Roar, roar, roar. The demonic tornado octopus was extremely furious. Its central mouth let out an earth-shattering roar. Roar, roar, roar. At the lower position, more than 1 million sea monsters were attacking the wall of 10,000 miles at the same time. Sir, be careful. We will defend against the other sea monsters. At the back, many experts from Tianbeihai City walked over and reminded Wang Xian. As everyone knew, formation masters were weaker in close combat. They were a little worried that Wang Xian would be attacked. "I'm fine." Wang Xian shook his head and waved his arm. "Whoa, whoa, whoa." Following that, wolf howls sounded in the sky. 1, 2, 3, and soon, a few thousand northern expedition wolves appeared above the wall of 10,000 miles. Every single northern expedition wolf exuded the aura of a peak godly state. Behind them, everyone in Sky North Sea City stared at this scene in shock, their eyes slightly widened. "Oh whoa." In the next moment, nearly 4,000 northern expedition wolves raised their heads and let out a wolf howl. The entire pack of wolves let out a howl, and the aura of a peak deity charged towards the million sea monsters. When the aura of these 3,000 to 4,000 northern expedition wolves erupted together, it caused all the sea monsters to tremble. The aura of a real northern expedition wolf pack was no weaker than the aura of dozens of sea monsters at the first level of the eternal celestial master level. He has stolen the limelight. Because of Wang Xian's support, Invincible looked behind him after dodging the entanglement of the two magic scroll octopuses. His face revealed a look of envy. "Are these war pets? There are a total of 3 to 4,000 war pets at the peak of the godly state. This is too powerful. That lord is too powerful. Are these the core elites of the land of combat arts?" Everyone in Sky North Sea City was shocked when they saw this scene. There were only about 100 peak god realm experts in Sky North Sea City. Roar. Bang. 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 However, 3,000 to 4,000 northern expedition wolves could not stop the million sea monsters. 10 seconds later, the million sea monsters continued to erupt. "Bastard, you're courting death." Just as Wang Xian was about to release the 99 northern howling celestial wolves, a loud roar came from the west. A terrifying aura rushed over. Help had arrived. Chapter 2282. 2282 2282 owed money based on his ability. More than 10 figures were charging towards them at a terrifying speed. Each of them had an aura that was no weaker than that of a 3rd, 4th, or even 5th or 6th rank Eternal Lord Sea Monster. When North Sky Sea City was attacked by the Sea Monster, they immediately sent out reinforcements. If it wasn't for the fact that this place was quite far away and the expert's teleportation array needed to be transferred, there might have been experts coming over long ago. Even so, within 7 to 8 minutes of the sea monster's invasion, a group of experts had rushed over. There are already experts here to stabilize the situation. So many ice wolves. Is it a beast tamer? It's rare for a beast tamer master to have so many ice wolves. The eyes of the dozen or so experts who rushed over swept over this area. When they saw the ice wolves standing on the wall of 10,000 li, their eyes revealed shock and confusion. Someone had come to support them earlier than them, and it was a powerful beast tamer master. It was unexpected. That's Invincible. Invincible is here too. How does he have an Eternal God Lord level 5 ice drill crocodile mount? One of them looked even more shocked when he saw the Invincible battle technique on the ice drill crocodile. They naturally understood that the Invincible battle technique was the most outstanding genius in the entire immortal battle technique. It was the most outstanding immortal battle technique in tens of millions of years. He had reached the Eternal God Lord realm at such a young age and was greatly favored by the ancestor. However, even if he was favored, he could not possibly have a level 5 Eternal God Lord mount. Putting aside whether or not they had a level 5 Eternal God Lord mount in their immortal battle techniques, with his current strength, even if they had one, they would not give it to him. Such a powerful mount required at least a level 5 Eternal God Lord expert to ride it. This was an adult level mount, not a joke. If it were to backfire, it would be a huge problem. As for the stronger ones, they could use their eternal divine kingdoms to suppress their mount's layers and make them submit completely. There were very few cultivators who rode on a mount that was stronger than them. Let's kill these sea monsters first. Although everyone had doubts, they still charged straight into the battlefield. Boom boom boom. In an instant, the overwhelming attacks landed on the battlefield hundreds of kilometers away, and the entire battlefield was instantly covered in energy. One of the old men who had mastered 6 laws directly charged at the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters. Roar roar roar. A few magic scroll octopuses let out a roar, and their eyes revealed a look of terror. Their figures flashed slightly and they instantly left. When the other Eternal God Lord level sea monsters saw the magic scroll octopuses escaping, they did not hesitate and returned to their nests immediately. In an instant, The Eternal God Lord level C monsters on the battlefield disappeared instantly. Kill the rest of the beasts. When Invincible in battle saw the Eternal God Lord level C monsters escaping, he raised his head slightly as he was being suppressed. His face revealed a look of savagery. He was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. He directly attacked the sea monsters at the demigod level. With a slash of his sword, the frozen longsword swept across the entire battlefield. More than 100,000 sea monsters were instantly killed. Following that, another slash of his sword covered the entire battlefield with frost. Invincible, be careful. An elder looked over and reminded Invincible battle technique. Haha, those below the Eternal God Lord level are just ants. I can kill them easily. Invincible in battle technique said proudly. The rest of them shook their heads and began to clear some of the sea monsters below. When Wang Xian saw this scene, he waved his arm and kept nearly 4,000 ice wolves into the mother nest. At the same time, the ice drill crocodile flew to his side and he also kept it in. With the support of the strong ones, he didn't interfere. He looked down and kept the demon scroll octopus tentacle that he had just chopped off. No matter what, the demonic octopus tentacle was a level 5 body of an eternal god lord. A small piece of it could be comparable to a celestial level elixir. Furthermore, the level of the elixir wasn't low. The entire tentacle was more than 500 meters long. It could be used to make an iron plate squid tentacle. Clean up the battlefield. The battle in front of them ended very quickly. A voice rang out. Sir, thank you for your help earlier. Otherwise, our Tianbei High City would have suffered heavy losses. An old man walked over and thanked Wang Xian. He waved his hand and didn't mind. The old man smiled and started to clean up the battlefield. Haha, Boss Wang, wasn't my battle technique Invincible heroic just now? At this moment, Invincible battle technique flew over and said proudly. 1 man against 10,000 men. He wasn't afraid of the sea monster army at all. He had already filmed the video. This time, his unrivaled battle technique would be famous throughout the entire natural selection continent. Awesome, awesome. Since it's settled, I'll take my leave first. Don't forget the money you owe me. Wang Xian looked at him speechlessly and said directly. Wait, Boss Wang. Unrivaled battle technique immediately called out to him. Wang Xian looked over in puzzlement. Boss Wang, no matter what, that ice-breaking wolf pack is also my spoils of war. Now that you've taken it away, I don't need too much. Just give me 1,000 of them. Invincible battle technique stared at him with gleaming eyes. Just now, Wang Xian had released nearly 4,000 ice wolves. The roar of the entire pack of wolves caused millions of sea monsters to tremble. Such a domineering scene made Invincible battle technique extremely envious. If he were to ride on the ice drill alligator and have more than 1,000 Northern Expedition wolves behind him, that would be so cool. Get lost. You want to buy them with money? Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian said disdainfully. Hey Boss Wang, don't go too far. This is my territory that is invincible in battle techniques. You are stealing my... Bang? Seeing that Wang Xian didn't give it to him, Invincible in battle techniques expression changed. He threatened Wang Xian in a threatening manner. However, before he could finish his words, Wang Xian kicked him, causing him to fly backward. Bang. Following that, his body landed heavily on the ground with a loud bang. Huh. What's going on? Invincible he. The people around looked over and were stunned. Their invincible young master was actually beaten up by that young man. Wang Xian, don't go too far. I only want 1,000 of them. Invincible got up with a change in expression as he shouted angrily. Idiot, you're a fool. As Wang Xian said that, he moved his right leg and the 10,000-mile wall beneath him collapsed. He smashed it directly at Invincible battle technique. Boom. Dust flew everywhere. Invincible battle technique was directly smashed to the ground. You're a fool in battle technique. Hand over the 15 pills you owe me as soon as possible. Otherwise, don't blame me for getting even with you. Now that I'm here, things won't be so simple anymore. Wang Xian's voice reverberated in the sky. He turned around and flew towards the direction of the Shintian Academy. Peng peng. Below the city wall, half of Battle Tactics Invincible's body came out. His face was filled with anger. You stole so many things from me and still asked me for money. I won't return it. What can you do to me? Ichimpich, how can I return the money I owe you with my ability? Invincible battle technique stared at Wang Xian's back and said angrily. However, the last few words were a little soft. He was afraid that Wang Xian would hear them. At the moment he couldn't afford to offend Wang Xian. Chapter 2283. 2283 Student 2283 was seriously injured. This, our invincible young master. Below the city walls of Beihai City, when some people heard the words, invincible in battle techniques, their faces revealed a stunned expression. Invincible in battle techniques was a heaven's favored son that was widely known in their battle techniques land. However, they didn't expect that this young master of the battle techniques land was actually such a person. He owed money based on his ability. Who is that young man? Some of the experts from the land of battle techniques looked over and muttered. It seemed like Invincible was very familiar with them, but they didn't know each other. Could it be that he was Invincible's friend? It didn't seem like it either. There was also Invincible's ice drill crocodile battle pet. Some people hesitated for a moment and flew towards Invincible battle techniques. With this, my Invincible battle techniques heroic bearing will spread throughout the entire natural selection continent. At this moment, Invincible fighting style was standing on the ruins of the wall of 10,000 miles, editing the words with his AI. Shocking. Invincible fighting style, the young master of the land of fighting style, single-handedly defended against 1,000,000 sea monsters. Shocking. Our invincible fighting style, the young master of the land of fighting style, rode on the ice drill crocodile, the tier 5 mount of the eternal god lord, wreaking havoc on the sea monster battlefield, guarding one city each. Unbelievable. Invincible fighting style, one man and one mount, fighting against 2 tier 5 eternal god lord magic scroll octopuses. The titles were edited one by one. At the same time there were a few videos on the side. These videos were all recorded by him just now. Invincible battle technique felt his blood boiling when he saw them. After editing he immediately sent them out. Invincible, who was that beast tamer master just now? At this moment, a few experts walked over kindly and asked Invincible battle technique with a smile. This person in front of him was the young master of Invincible in battle tactics. These experts would also treat him warmly. Wang Xian didn't know about Invincible in battle tactics. After he left Tianbeihai Cheng he flew straight to Xintian Academy. As for Invincible in battle tactics, Wang Xian wasn't afraid that he would go back on his word. If this fellow dared to not return the debt, he could retrieve the ice drill alligator with just a thought. As long as Wang Xian wanted to retrieve his tamed war pet, he could do so easily. Of course, Wang Xian was not prepared to ask Invincible battle technique for the 15 pills. What he wanted was for that fellow to continue working as his coolie. This place was a little far from Tianbeihai Cheng. It would take at least 10 hours to fly. The teleportation might be faster, but Wang Xian was not very familiar with the Heavens Selection continent. He was also not prepared to use the city teleportation formation to teleport. Flying in the sky, he could see the entire Tianzi continent. I've left for about a month and a half this time. It's time for me to return to the academy to see my students. Wang Xian was a little uncomfortable. He was actually a teacher and a group of female students. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have agreed with Senior Shen Tianzi. He shook his head slightly. The last time he said that he would teach them 3 days at the beginning of each month. In the end he stood them up this month. I will treat that level 5 demon scroll octopus of the eternal celestial master as their food. Wang Xian thought to himself. Since he had become their teacher, he wouldn't treat them unfairly. Bing 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 bing, are you alright? Pitch, this is the strength of class 1. It can't be said that you are weak. You are simply trash. It seems that your teacher is only SOSO. I think you should make way for the training grounds of class 1 as soon as possible. However, at this moment in the mysterious Sky Academy, a woman stood proudly in front of the cultivation area of class 1. The woman was tall and had a pair of phoenix eyes. Her lips were thin and full of arrogance. Around the woman, there were 4 to 5 young men standing there with smiles on their faces. Behind them there were 50 to 60 people. You actually attacked so heavily. Kai Qiaoqing, you have gone too far. Situ Yin supported Yu Bingbing as she roared furiously. Too far? She's the one courting death. It's already good that I didn't kill her, but a weakling actually dares to provoke me? Kai Qiaoqing stared disdainfully at the heavily injured Yu Bingbing. It's inevitable to get injured during a spar. It's her own fault for not being proficient. Furthermore, you guys occupy the best training grounds in Class 1. We naturally want to see for ourselves what qualifications you guys have to occupy this training grounds. If you don't have the strength, tell your teacher to quickly make him move out of the way. A young man beside them said with a smile. His eyes were filled with mockery. That's right. Although there is still a year before the class competition, I don't think you guys have the qualifications. A few young men beside him echoed. The competition in Shantian Academy was very intense. The simplest reason was the competition among the classes. There was a distinction between the strong and the weak in the training grounds of the classes. A strong class naturally occupied a good training ground. The place where Wang Xian and the rest were at was the best training ground for this batch. On the other side, Situ Yan, Huang Jiejia, and the rest had angry looks on their faces. Both of them had some injuries on their bodies. However, compared to Yu Bingbing, their injuries were much lighter. There was a long wound on Yu Bingbing's cheek. Her entire body was almost cut in half and one of her arms was broken. Such a serious injury would require at least half a year for her to recover. If it weren't for them, Yu Bingbing's injury might have been even more serious. However, after the Academy's internal sparring, as long as it wasn't a death duel, the Academy wouldn't interfere. If she were to enter the arena, even if she were to die, the Academy wouldn't interfere. This method was to nurture experts, and it was to allow her to have a better battle with the sea monster today. You were the ones who insulted our teacher first. Yu Bingbing gritted her teeth, and her pale face was filled with anger as she stared at them. Just now the other party had insulted their teacher and said that they were weak, but their teacher was only SOSO. If they said that their teacher was young, he was probably just a silver spear wax head. How could Yu Bingbing agree when she heard that they insulted her teacher? She attacked angrily, but in the end she was heavily injured. Am I wrong? A teacher with no qualifications is occupying this class, and you guys are still so weak. So what if I said it? You guys can defeat me to avenge your previous humiliation. Unfortunately, you guys don't have the strength. Kai Qiaoqing said to Yu Bingbing and the others with a disdainful face, and then she left with her head held high. TSK, a class is full of women. That teacher is really blessed. A young man said in a strange tone before turning around and leaving. Behind them, Situ Yan, Huang Jiejia, and the others were filled with rage. However, they weren't a match for the other party. The other party's group came from 3 different classes, and they were all the top students of this batch. Even though they weren't weak either, they weren't the strongest in the entire batch of formation master freshmen. And among them there were a few of the strongest freshmen. Not bad. At a building 10 kilometers away from the academy, 2 figures stood on top of the building with a faint smile on their faces. One of the figures was missing an arm. The spot where the arm was severed was pitch black and flesh and blood were squirming about. It was a frightening sight to behold. Since I can't deal with you, I don't believe that I can't deal with your student. Very soon, I'll make you the laughingstock of the academy. So what if you're a teacher? The young man with a broken arm was Shangguan Jihan. At this moment, his expression was a little ferocious. This time he was ordered by his master to go to the front line as punishment. When he encountered the corrosive venom of the sea monster of the eternal god, his arm disappeared instantly. Now, if he wanted to recover, he would have to resort to the strong or spend a large number of elixirs. Shangguan Jihan, who was walking in front of death, was extremely furious. All is that Wang Xian harm he is not reconciled. Chapter 2284. 2284 Student 2284 was severely injured. Although we can't do anything to him, it's enough to damage his reputation. Shi Jingyang, who was standing beside Shangguan Jihan, smiled coldly. His eyes were filled with hatred. All of this was done secretly by them. As the senior students of Shantian Academy and the famous students of the entire Shantian Academy, it was simply too easy for them to deal with a few students. It was because of that Wang Xian that caused their House of War Beasts to close down on the first day of business. It was because of that Wang Xian that they were thrown to the front line of the battlefield. Shangguan Jihan almost died. It was because of that Wang Xian that they were ridiculed behind their backs. How could they be willing to not take revenge for such an enmity? However, it was a pipe dream for them to take revenge on a teacher of the Shantian Academy. However, if they could destroy his reputation, they would be able to vent some of their hatred. They were prepared to give Wang Xian the title of the most trashy teacher in the Shantian Academy. At the thought of this, a ferocious smile appeared on their faces. Senior Shangguan. Brother Sure. At this moment, a few young men and women walked over from the back. They were the few people who had headed to Class 1 just now. Kai Qiaoqing retracted the arrogance on her face and walked over with a smile. The other young men carried a trace of respect. That's right, I'll have to trouble all of you. Shangguan Zhihan looked at the 4 people who came over and a smile appeared on his face. Senior, it's no trouble. That group of people directly occupied Class 1 and occupied the best cultivation spot. We were originally unhappy about it, but seeing that they were a group of girls, we didn't bother with them. However, it's different when their teacher provoked you, Senior. In the future, if Senior has any instructions, just let us know. The youths immediately said with smiles on their faces. Towards the 2 seniors before them, they also felt some admiration in their hearts. Directly finding trouble with their teacher wasn't something that just anyone would dare to do. And the reason why they dared to help was because of one thing. In addition, there was the background of the 2 of them as well as their talent. In the future, these 2 seniors would almost 90% be able to step into the eternal Divine Lord realm. In the future we might have to trouble a few juniors. Of course, we won't be lacking in the benefits. Shi Jingyang said indifferently. It's no trouble at all. It's just a piece of cake. But seniors, we can't keep finding trouble with them. We're afraid that their teacher. The group of young men shook their heads hurriedly. However, one of them said with some worry. It's all right. It's normal for students to spar in the academy. Don't worry, we don't dare to anger a strong person. We're just trying to damage his reputation. He won't dare to do anything to you. Don't tell anyone about this. Otherwise, the consequences. Shi Jingyang said indifferently. In fact, they didn't dare to completely anger Wang Xian. Not only was he a teacher of the academy, but he was also a curse array master. This was also the reason why they chose to take revenge in such a way. They hid behind to prevent Wang Xian from cursing them. We understand this. We also understand the rules of the academy. The group of young men nodded their heads quickly. The next time we attack, we can be a little more severe, the kind that will cause them to be unable to recover in a few years. Shangguan Zhihan said coldly. Yes, Senior Shangguan. Kai Qiaoqing hurriedly smiled and nodded, while the rest of the youths frowned slightly and nodded their heads. They all understood the rules of the academy. As long as they didn't kill them, it would be fine to blow them up until only a drop of blood was left. Cruel. But this is based on the premise that humans are enemies of the sea monsters. Shantian Academy does not train the weak, do not train people who do not fight. The students of the academy in the last few years will have to go to the front line to fight the underground sea army. Bus. 18 hours, just a distance. I have the strength of an eternal god lord rank 5 to fly for 18 hours. This Tianzi continent is really huge. At the entrance of the northern coast of the Shantian Academy, Wang Xian looked at the academy in front of him and muttered to himself. All the students came over for a while. When he arrived above the group of students who were cultivating, Wang Xian's voice spread throughout the surroundings. Teacher is here. Our teacher is finally here. At this moment, one by one, the girls ran out and heaved a heavy sigh of relief. Ha! Wang Xian swept his gaze across the girls. Soon, most of the girls were gathered here. Teacher. The girls gathered in front and the girls who had rushed over shouted one by one. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. Where are Tian Shui and Yu Bingbing? He swept his gaze across all the students and saw that 2 of them were missing. He opened his mouth and asked. Huang Jiejia, Situ Yan and Xiaolan, why are the 3 of you injured? However, he soon realized that Huang Jiejia, Situ Yan and Xiaolan were injured. He frowned and continued to ask. Teacher, Bingbing is injured. Her injuries are a little serious. We are fine. Huang Jiejia said in a low voice. Her injuries are a little serious? What happened? Wang Xian sat down and a chair instantly appeared beneath him. Teacher, it's Kai Qiaoqing, He Ziwen, Zhao Yuanfeng, Niu Feiyuan and the rest. They came to our training grounds and said that we are not worthy to cultivate here. They wanted to spar with us. Jiejia and Sister Yanzi couldn't stand to spar with them. However, they weren't their match and were injured. After that, they insulted us. Xiaolan was furious and even got injured by them. After that, Kai Qiaoqing said a few words to you, teacher. Bingbing rushed forward and was seriously injured. Teacher, go and take a look at Bingbing. She is seriously injured. A girl said with a slightly angry expression. Ha! Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and stood up immediately. Bring me there. Yes, teacher. Huang Jejia, Situ Yen, and the other girls immediately brought Wang Xian into a room. When she opened the door, Yu Bingbing was sitting cross-legged and recovering from her injuries. Teacher. When Yu Bingbing saw that the door was opened, she was slightly stunned when she saw Wang Xian. A look of panic appeared on her face. She quickly stood up and shouted. However, due to her strength, fresh blood immediately oozed out from the wounds on her forehead and body. Her face turned pale. She's injured badly. Wang Xian scanned the injuries on her body and his face turned a little black. Teacher, it's my fault. I've embarrassed you. Yu Bingbing lowered her head and said softly. Bus. Wang Xian swept his gaze across and a surge of energy landed on her body. The injuries on her body were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Thank you, teacher. Yu Bingbing raised her head and said gratefully to Wang Xian. Tell me what exactly happened. Wang Xian stood there with a sullen face and asked the few girls. Teacher. Situ Yen opened her mouth and told them everything that happened today. Where's Tianxin? Wang Xian asked expressionlessly. Teacher, Tianxin has a good background and has been cultivating at home. We called out to her at that time, but she said she didn't have the time. Situ Yen replied. Teacher, this is because our strength is inferior to others. We will work hard to cultivate in the future. Huang Jejia's face was full of anger and fighting spirit as she said this. They would definitely avenge today's humiliation. Chapter 2285. 2285-2285 imparted the curse. Teacher, we have embarrassed you. A group of girls stood in front of Wang Xian and said with their heads lowered. This time they had indeed embarrassed Wang Xian. In Xiantian Academy, a teacher's reputation was earned by his own students. If his students were weak, he would also be embarrassed as a teacher. If his students were strong, not only would his teacher have face, but he would also receive some rewards. Furthermore, once his student reached the level of the Eternal Divine Lord, he would also be considered a strong individual. Therefore, many teachers in the Xiantian Academy would choose one of the 30 students to be their disciple, their personal disciple. He provoked Yu Bingbing after only starting school for more than a month, and he even injured her so badly. It seems like he has bad intentions. Wang Xian's eyes turned cold as he looked at the few girls in front of him who had their heads lowered without saying a word. His eyes sparkled. With a wave of his arm, he completely healed the injuries on Huang Jejia and the rest. Let's go out first. Wang Xian said to them and walked straight out. Teacher. Bingbing's injuries are healed. When the group of girls saw Yu Bingbing following behind them, their faces lit up with joy. I'll be staying here for the next 4 to 5 days. All of you should focus on your training. If there's anything you don't understand, come and look for me directly. For now, let's eat something. Wang Xian glanced at the group of girls and hesitated for a moment. With a wave of his arm, the tentacle of the octopus was suspended in the air. From now on, Situ Yen will be the class monitor and Huang Jiejia will be the deputy class monitor. Each of you can eat 1 catty of this octopus tentacle every day. It should be enough for a month. There's no need to save. I'll get you something else to eat next month. Leave the distribution of the octopus tentacle to Situ Yen and Huang Jiejia. Who knows how to cook? Find a girl who knows how to cook. As Wang Xian spoke, he swept his gaze across the group of girls. At this moment, all the girls standing in front of him were looking at the octopus tentacle with pale faces. Yes, their faces were pale. They could feel a strong pressure from the octopus tentacle. This pressure made their blood and chi not flow smoothly, and their faces even turned pale. This is the tentacle of the Eternal Lord level sea monster. A girl suddenly mumbled. It's the demonic scroll octopus, the level 5 demonic scroll octopus of the Eternal Lord level. A small piece of its flesh is not weaker than 5 or 6 or even 6 or 7 wisps of divine fire pills. Another girl beside them suddenly exclaimed. That's right, this piece of flesh can make all of you improve a lot. Wang Xian nodded his head lightly. The group of girls breathing quickened slightly. Their teacher actually took out such a precious treasure and gave it to them. Furthermore, each of them had to eat 1 gene of it every day. There would be more in the future. Each of them had to eat 1 gene of it every day. They couldn't digest it at all. Teacher, I know how to cook, but if I were to cook it, the effects would be lost a lot. A girl raised her hand and said weakly. Teacher, I know how to cook too. If I were to cook it, I would waste half of it. Yu Bingbing also said. It's alright. You guys won't be able to digest it in a day. Let's just waste it. Make it taste better. Wang Xian said nonchalantly. Wang Xian really didn't care about the tentacle of an Eternal Lord level 5 sea monster. Gulp. The rest of them gulped in disbelief. Let's make some food first. Yu Bingbing, Situ Yan, Huang Jejia, and Xiaolan, the four of you, come and look for me after you finish your meal. I will teach you the battle formation. 5 days later, I will bring all of you to take revenge. Wang Xian said indifferently and walked into a room at the side. Behind him, a group of girls looked at each other in dismay. Teacher. He actually asked us to eat the body of the level 5 sea monster of the Eternal Lord. If we eat like this, we will be able to improve in a year at most. One of the girls mumbled and opened her mouth slightly. We're rich. I didn't expect our teacher to be so powerful. This is the body of the level 5 sea monster of the Eternal Lord. It's such a waste for us to eat it. It's at least 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. Can we finish it in a month? The girls were all stunned. Situ Yen and Huang Jejia swallowed their saliva and looked excited. They had a good background, but it was only limited to the Eternal God Lord rank experts in their family. Their rank was not high and their rank was not weak either. However, they did not have the luxury to eat the body of an Eternal God Lord rank 5 sea monster. Their background was considered good, not to mention the other girls. This was simply a huge opportunity. Perhaps only the Eternal Lord rank 8 or 9 experts could provide for their children. In addition, the two of them had become class leaders. Moreover, their teacher had just said that he would teach them the battle array and let them take revenge 5 days later. Bing bing little Yuan, you guys go. Go and cook. Later, make a serving for our teacher. Situ Yen was the first to react. She looked at Yu Bingbing and the girl who raised her hand and said she knew how to cook. Yes, yes. Before the two of them could react, they nodded mechanically. We will be rich in the future. Teacher is great. Slowly, some of the girls got used to it and shouted happily. Teacher wants to teach Sister Yen Jia Bingbing and Xiaolan the new array formation. Wow, I really envy you guys. Is teacher going to take you guys in as his personal disciples? It's very possible. Moreover, teacher said that he will take revenge in 5 days. Could it help them increase their strength quickly? Envious voices sounded. One by one, the girls looked at Yu Bing, Situ Yen, Huang Jiajia, and Xiaolan. They were indeed extremely envious. Now that their teacher had given them such a precious treasure, wouldn't there be more benefits for them to become personal disciples? However, they were still envious. Situ Yen, Yu Bingbing, and the other 3 were obviously injured because they had made a move this time. Who asked them not to make a move? They could only blame themselves. The group of girls thought in their hearts. Very quickly, they endured the pressure and walked to the surroundings of the octopus tentacle. Their eyes reflected light as they sized it up. Meanwhile, Yu Bingbing and another girl used a lot of effort to cut off a piece and began to make it. It was too extravagant to cook directly. All the girls who ate the meal were extremely excited. The taste is not bad. In the room, Wang Xian was eating the iron plate octopus whiskers that Yu Bingbing brought over and said with a smile. In the next 5 days your strength will increase by at least 1 level. I will teach you some curse formations. In 5 days, you will be humiliated 10 times more than today. Wang Xian stood up slowly and said to the 4 girls. Increase by 1 level in 5 days? Curse formations? Situ Yen and the rest were slightly stunned and opened their mouths slightly. Don't worry. I said that I can increase it. As for the curse formations, they are the strangest and most evil formations. It is easy to deal with a few weaklings. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly and his eyes were cold. His student was not so easy to bully. Chapter 2286. 2286. They would return the favor tenfold. Curse formation. When the group of girls heard Wang Xian's words, their eyes sparkled. In the path of formation, support, attack, and defense were more common. Support was also divided into tracking, concealment, and so on. As for the path of curse, it was relatively rare among formations. There were very few people who could master the curse formation. In the entire Shintian Academy, there were only a few formation masters who could master the curse technique. Even if there were, they could only master 1 or 2 curse formations at most. Their level might not even be that high. Now that their teacher was actually teaching them curse formations and helping them raise their level in 5 days, How could they not be excited? Beginner-level curse formations at the godly state level are relatively weak and can only be cast at close range. These few days I will teach the few of you. It is enough to deal with a powerhouse at the third or fourth level of the godly state. Wang Xian said to them. Formation masters had the ability to fight against opponents at a higher level. However, this was only for powerful formation masters. Huang Jiejia, Yu Bingbing and the other girls had just ignited the godly fire. They did not have many formations at their disposal, so it would be difficult for them to fight against opponents at a higher level. Of course, they could not fight against opponents at a higher level. The rest of the students could not fight against opponents at a higher level either. If formation masters wanted to fight against opponents at a higher level, they would need to prepare a few formation compasses. Otherwise, they would be killed once the battle started, let alone those at a higher level. Thank you, teacher. When the four girls heard Wang Xian's words, they immediately bowed down heavily and said with gratitude. Some arrays were not to be taught to outsiders. They were the trump cards of every expert. For example, cursed arrays, even if their level was low, were treasures to an array master. In the next few days, not only do all of you need to level up, you also need to control a few arrays and train hard. Wang Xian said to them. Yes, teacher. The few of them nodded their heads. In the next few days, Wang Xian stayed in his room to teach the four girls. The improvement of formation masters was similar to that of ordinary cultivators. They had to ignite more divine flames and master stronger formations. In order to ignite the divine flames faster and consume a large amount of resources, these resources were like a drop in the bucket for Wang Xian. However, with sufficient resources, they needed to comprehend stronger formations on their own. Only then would they be able to achieve a true breakthrough. This was not difficult for Wang Xian. He had no experience in teaching the students, but he had the celestial emperor of heaven's formation. As a mighty celestial emperor, he could easily raise the level of the four little gods within 5 days. While the four girls were cultivating with all their might, there were some rumors spreading among the new students of Shintian Academy. Some freshmen were dissatisfied with the current Class 1. They didn't have the qualifications to occupy such good resources. Especially when the few geniuses of this year went to Class 1 to spar with each other a few days ago and easily defeated all the strong students of Class 1. In addition, there were also rumors that the teachers of Class 1 were just silver spears with wax heads and didn't have any qualifications. At such a young age, without much experience, one could be said to be the most trashy teacher in the entire Shintian Academy. On the AI, there were also people who posted on the internal forum of Shintian Academy saying that the teachers in Class 1 were too young to be qualified to be teachers. This also attracted the attention of many people. After all, Wang Xian was known as the youngest teacher in Shintian Academy. Some even said that he was even younger than the students in the academy. This aroused the curiosity of many people. Upon seeing some people's evaluation of this teacher, some people also joined in the discussion. What kind of experience could such a young teacher have? He was so young and had never been to the front lines of the battlefield. How powerful could he be? The voices caused many people to think that the teacher of Class 1 of the new students was very incompetent. Wang Xian didn't know about the voices from the outside world. The girls of Class 1 were also desperately cultivating. What happened a few days ago had dealt a huge blow to the girls. Now that they had to consume the meat of the level 5 sea monster of the Eternal Lord every day, they didn't dare to waste any time. Now their cultivation was akin to eating a few pills with 5 or 6 wisps of divine fire every day. Their progress was progressing at a tremendous pace. Some of the stronger students even felt that they could ignite 2 wisps of divine fire this month. For students who didn't have a strong family background, 1 day of training here was equivalent to 1 or 2 months of training in the past. The rule of the level 5 sea monster meat of the Eternal Lord was to consume all of it on the spot and not allow it to be taken away. This also saved the girls from the thought of being thrifty. 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. Wang Xian stood in the room and looked at the 4 girls in front of him with satisfaction. Yu Bingbing and Xiaolan, who were originally 1 wisp of divine fire, had now achieved 2 wisps of divine fire. Huang Jiejia and Situ Yen had already ignited 3 wisps of divine fire. 3 wisps of divine fire. Among this batch, only 5 students had achieved it. Now that they had achieved a breakthrough and grasped the formation that Wang Xian had imparted to them, it was still a little difficult for them to fight against those of a higher level. However, if the 2 of them worked together, they could fight against the 4 wisps of divine fire. Let's go and take revenge. We will repay the humiliation we suffered 5 days ago tenfold this time. Wang Xian said to them calmly. Yes, teacher. A few girls had a determined look on their faces. They held their arms tightly and their faces were filled with fighting spirit. Hee hee. Wang Xian smiled faintly and walked out. Teacher. When they saw Wang Xian and the rest coming out, a group of girls immediately walked over. Yeah, let's go and take revenge. If you guys want to follow us, follow us. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the group of girls and said nonchalantly. Sister Yen and the rest seem to have made a breakthrough. I think so. The aura on their bodies is so strong. Bing Bing and Xiaolan have also made a breakthrough and ignited 2 wisps of divine fire. They have all made a breakthrough. When the group of girls saw Situ Yen, Huang Jiejia, and the rest who were at the back, they revealed a look of shock on their faces. After 5 days of breakthrough, they were considered the best among the new students. Situ Yen and Huang Jiejia could even be ranked in the top 10. Let's go, let's follow them. 5 days ago they came to bully us. Today we will cripple them. That's right, give them a good beating. Let them dare to insult us and our teacher. Wang Xian led the 4 girls straight outside. The group of girls followed him and clenched their fists in an aggressive manner. Which class are those people from? Lead the way. Wang Xian said to Situ Yen and the rest. Yes, teacher. They are from class 2, class 4 and 2 classes 7. Situ Yen replied and pointed to the front. Wang Xian nodded and walked forward expressionlessly. Wow, there are so many juniors. All of them are pretty good looking. They should be the students of class 1 of this batch of freshmen. All of them are girls. That young man should be their teacher, the youngest teacher in our academy. It's him? The teacher who was said to be the worst in Shantian Academy? When selecting the students he chose all the pretty girls. Silver Spear Wax Head? When Wang Xian and the rest were walking towards class 2, some people on the way looked over curiously and started to discuss softly. His words made Wang Xian raise his eyebrows slightly. Chapter 2287. 2287 The Power of 2287's Curse. My reputation is so bad in the school. Silver Spear Wax Head? Wang Xian swept his gaze across the student who was talking about him. His eyes sparkled. He had only stayed in the academy for a few days. Other than the student Dean Jin, he didn't know anyone else in the academy. But now, someone was deliberately trying to discredit him. That group of students who came to provoke him? It was really possible. After all, Wang Xian looked relatively young. Those dignified middle-aged and elderly teachers didn't dare to say anything, but it didn't mean that they didn't dare to say anything to him. TSK, such a young teacher and the entire class are female students. This is simply too blissful. Don't talk so much. That teacher took a glance at us. So what if he did? It wasn't me who said it. Moreover, I didn't say anything wrong. I'm really envious. Eehee. A few hundred meters away, an ordinary-looking young man with a crafty smile on his face spoke to the burly young man beside him indifferently. Humph. Some of the girls heard their conversation and revealed furious expressions. They looked over with furious faces. Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? When the young man saw the group of girls looking at him, he lifted his head and teased them with a smile. Bang bang bang. However, just as he finished his sentence, the sound of an explosion was heard from his body. His limbs and body directly exploded, and a large amount of blood shot out in all directions. The young man's face turned extremely pale in an instant. His entire body was severely injured and his eyes were a little unfocused. You're courting death. Wang Xian said indifferently without even looking at him. A fellow with 5 wisps of divine fire was actually talking about the Eternal Lord recklessly. Did he think that he wouldn't dare to do anything to him in the academy? How high? The face of the burly young man beside him changed drastically. He quickly took out an elixir and placed it in his mouth to check his body. Not good. All of the blood essence and energy in my body have exploded and dissipated. I'm no different from a cripple. The burly young man sensed the young man's injuries, and his face changed drastically. The energy in his body had exploded, and his injuries were very serious. All of his blood essence and energy had been destroyed. It was fine if he wanted to recondense them, but the amount of energy required to do so was very, very great. In fact, without a dozen or so 5-wisp divine fire medicinal pills, and without several decades of nurturing, it would be very difficult for him to recover. Of course, if the eternal God Lord helped, it would be different. So ruthless. The burly youth's heart trembled. I'm crippled. It's him. I want to tell teacher, I want to tell teacher. The youth's face revealed a panicked expression, and his voice carried a hint of crying as he spoke. I'll bring you to teacher. The burly youth immediately carried the youth and left, sighing slightly in his heart. Anyone who could become a teacher was an eternal God Lord expert. Even if that teacher looked very young, he was not someone who could be easily provoked. Although that teacher had violated the school rules, he was the one who had provoked him first. Moreover, if the teacher did not make the decision for him, he would only have himself to blame. As a result of this matter, the one who had suffered the most damage was still him. Hiss, attacking directly, how overbearing. That young man is also an idiot, provoking an expert so arrogantly. When the surrounding people saw this, their pupils constricted slightly, and a trace of fear flashed across their eyes. Serves him right. When the group of girls saw this scene, they lightly harumphed. Teacher, in front of us is class 2. It was Kai Qiaoqing from class 2 who heavily injured Bing Bing. Jia Jia was also easily defeated by her. Kai Qiaoqing has already ignited 3 wisps of divine fire. She is one of the stronger ones among this batch of freshmen. At this moment, Situ Yen said to Wang Xian. A girl? Wang Xian asked indifferently. Yes, a girl. Situ Yen nodded her head. Make your move and place all the curses on her. Wang Xian said directly. It's teacher. Situ Yen was shocked and nodded immediately. He could feel that his teacher was getting a little angry. From the discussion of the young man just now, it was obvious that someone was saying bad things about his teacher behind his back. And the people who said bad things were none other than those people from 5 days ago. The one who said bad things about his teacher was also Kai Qiaoqing. Everyone walked towards the seat of class 2. The cultivation grounds of class 2 were similar to class 1, but the spiritual energy within was slightly less than that of class 1. The door to the cultivation room was tightly shut. Situ Yen took 2 steps forward and with a wave of her arm, a surge of energy crashed heavily onto the door. The previous time they had been provoked, the other party had done the same thing. Ping ping ping. Situ Yan's successive surges of spiritual energy crashed onto the door, producing heavy sounds. Who dares to disturb our cultivation again? The door opened and a young man shouted with a cold face. Class 1? What are you guys doing here? Are you asking for a beating? When the young man saw Situ Yan and the rest, he raised his eyebrows and said coldly. When he saw Wang Xian, he was slightly taken aback. However, he quickly turned his gaze away and pretended that he didn't see him. The teacher would not interfere in a spar between students. HMPH, call Kai Qiaoqing over. We will return the humiliation from 5 days ago tenfold today. Situ Yan said to the young man with a cold expression. With just you guys? TSK, you even called teacher over. Are you worried that you will be tortured by us? The young man looked at Situ Yan and said with disdain. To think that you guys still dare to come knocking on our door. How interesting. It seems that we didn't humiliate you guys enough last time. Initially, I was prepared to teach you guys a lesson in 2 months. I didn't expect that you guys would actually dare to come knocking on our door. As soon as the young man finished his sentence, a girl with a proud face led a group of people out from the back. She was dressed in black and had a faint smile on her face. Her phoenix-shaped eyes were staring at Situ Yan and the rest with disdain. Teacher Wang is here too. You won't interfere in the matters of our students, right? She looked at Wang Xian and asked with a smile. Naturally, I won't interfere in the matters of your students. The weak will be beaten up. Wang Xian said plainly. Well said. Kai Qiaoqing nodded with a smile. She looked at Situ Yan and the rest and said, It seems like you guys didn't learn your lesson last time and insisted on coming over to humiliate yourselves. Kai Qiaoqing, don't be arrogant. Today we will make you pay the price. Huang Jiajia also said with a cold expression. Haha, with just you guys, wasn't it you guys that Sister Qing beat up last time? This time you guys actually dared to come and provoke us. Perhaps it's because teacher is back. Even if teacher is here, we won't show any mercy. Sister Qing, teach them a harsh lesson. Let them obediently step aside when they see us in the future. Behind Kai Qiaoqing, a group of young men and women spoke with disdain. Last time we only taught you a small lesson. This time, if you dare to come and provoke us, don't blame me for making you lose face in the entire courtyard. Kai Qiaoqing said to Situ Yan and the others with a proud face. Then let's try. Situ Yan's eyes were cold as she took a few steps forward. Chapter 2288. 2288 2,288 students will be dealt with by the students. Those who interfere will die. 1. At the entrance of Shintian Academy's new student class 2, a group of people were in a tense confrontation. Wang Xian stood there and didn't say anything about the students' matters. It was perfectly normal for students to spar with each other. Once they entered the arena, they could even fight to the death. Yu Bingbing was seriously injured. If he didn't treat her and if he didn't have sufficient resources, it would take a long time for her to recover. Wang Xian felt that the injuries on her body were very serious. He wouldn't say that he would help her take revenge. However, his students weren't easy to bully, especially when the other party insulted him and injured Yu Bingbing in anger. Then, he would let his students regain their dignity and return the favor tenfold. Move aside. I want them to crawl out of here today. Kai Qiaoqing stared at Situ Yan with disdain and said to the students behind her. Sister Qing, get them out of here. You don't know your place. 5 days ago I could easily torture you. Today you still dare to come to us arrogantly and humiliate yourselves. The girls behind her shouted loudly. Humph. Kai Qiaoqing slightly raised her head and stared at Situ Yan. You really think I'm afraid of you? This time, you have to pay the price for humiliating us last time. Situ Yan took a step forward, and the aura on her body instantly burst out. Ha! 3 wisps of divine fire. She actually ignited 3 wisps of divine fire. The burst of aura caused the faces of the students of class 2 opposite to them to reveal a stunned expression. They let out a series of exclamations, and their faces were filled with solemnity. I didn't expect you to actually break through. Kai Qiaoqing was also slightly stunned, and then she narrowed her eyes and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. You dare to provoke me when you've just broken through? You're really stupid. If I were to say that it was your class's Qianxue who came over, I might be a little more serious. Just you, I wouldn't even put you in my eyes. Her face was full of arrogance. She had a strong background, and her strength was not something that ordinary students could compare to. Won't you know after giving it a try? Situ Yan's body shook, and an aura directly charged toward Kai Qiaoqing. I'll let you see the gap between us. Kai Qiaoqing smiled coldly, and with a wave of her arm, a formation compass appeared in her hand. Numerous golden sharp swords instantly attacked Situ Yan. At the same time, her palm moved slightly, and she began to set up an attack formation. Situ Yan also took out a formation compass, and the formation on the compass was instantly activated, and a stream of water wrapped around her. What the two of them released were 3 wisps of divine fire-level formations. When Kai Qiaoqing released the formation, Situ Yan also began to set up the formation. Streams of pitch-black energy gathered in front of her. The energy squirmed and slowly turned blood-red. It looked a little strange. What kind of formation is that? The darkness attribute is so strange? It should be their teacher who taught her. That teacher Wang must have taught her something since he followed her here. Humph, so what if he taught her? Our sister Qing has long ignited 3 wisps of divine fire. She isn't someone who has just broken through. The girls of class 2 looked at Situ Yan and discussed with cold faces. Ping ping ping. At this moment, numerous sharp swords landed in front of Situ Yan and were blocked by the water curtain formation. Formation Blood Curse. Formation Earth Bind. In less than 10 seconds, 2 voices sounded almost at the same time. A ball of darkness that covered a radius of 10 kilometers was located in the center of the darkness. A strange blood-red object was attacking Kai Qiaoqing. Below Situ Yan, the ground seemed to come alive. It reached out and grabbed at her. Each palm was 5 to 6 meters in size. This was not only binding, it also possessed terrifying offensive power. Wung. Situ Yan waved her blood curse, and when she saw the earth binding that was attacking her, her figure shook. Array formations floated around her, and with a move of his body, he flew into the sky to avoid the earth binding's attack. An array formation master needed more than 10 or 20 seconds to release an array formation of the same level. However, if Biyu's level was lower than his, the speed would be much faster. For example, Situ Yanbu's divine fire level array formation could be completed in 1 second. If she practiced regularly, she could also release a low-level array formation in an instant. Streams of energy and the array formation landed under the earth binding, and Situ Yen avoided the attack. She stood above the entrance and continued to condense the array. Holy light robe. Do you think you're the only one who has mastered the other arrays? At the same time, Kai Qiaoqing was also staring at the blood curse array with a cold face. She waved her arm and her body was instantly enveloped by a beam of light, and she flew into the sky. The continuous attacks were aimed at the blood-red array in the middle of the blood curse array. Bzzz bzzz. What? Suddenly, when the surrounding darkness touched the holy light robe, the holy light robe quickly melted. Especially the part of the arm, it directly melted. Then a scene that made her feel terrified appeared. The power of darkness directly surged into her body through her arm. This made her face full of shock, and a trace of fear appeared in her eyes. What kind of formation is this? How can it be so strange? Her expression changed drastically as she cried out in alarm. Buzz buzz buzz. The darkness that covered a radius of 1,000 meters surged towards her body at a terrifying speed. This included the blood ball in the middle. Formation, heavenly virus. Formation, 3 plagues. At this moment, 2 more balls of darkness condensed together, carrying a strange bloody aura as they attacked Kai Qiaoqing. Get lost. Kai Qiaoqing's face was somewhat malevolent as she let out a furious roar, and spiritual energy burst out from her body. Awe. However, all of a sudden, she sensed that the spiritual energy in her body had gone out of control, and traces of blood were flowing out from her body. A painful voice came out from her mouth. The heavenly virus and the 3 calamities entered her body directly. What kind of array formation is this? What kind of array formation is this? A shrill voice sounded from her mouth, and a large amount of blood gushed out from her body. The heavenly plague virus began to take effect, and her limbs began to twitch and her bones began to bend. Soon, the 3 calamities descended upon her, and flames suddenly burst forth from her body. It was as if everything was natural, causing her body to turn pitch black in an instant. Awe. Her flesh and blood began to swell and her bones began to bend. It was an incomparably savage sight. Her shrill voice reverberated throughout the entire area. If not for the formation blocking her way, her voice would have echoed for more than 100 kilometers. She rolled on the ground continuously, looking incomparably miserable. Hiss, what? What kind of formation is this? How can it be so bizarre? How can it be so bizarre? Sister Qing, Situ Yen, you are too cruel. What on earth have you done? Inform the teacher, will inform the teacher. At this moment, the entire second class panicked. This scene was simply too terrifying. Kai Qiaoqing seemed to have been sent to hell, incomparably terrifying. Chapter 2289. 2289 student matters are settled by the students. Those who interfere will die. 2. This? What kind of formation is this? How can it be so terrifying, so strange? Not only everyone in class 2, but even Huang Jiejia, Yu Bingbing and the other female students were shocked and fearful when they saw this strange attack. Even Situ Yen, who was standing at the entrance, turned pale when she saw Kai Qiaoqing's miserable state. This attack was too bizarre and terrifying. At this moment, Kai Qiaoqing didn't look like a human at all. Is this the power of the curse? Situ Yen muttered. She had only come into contact with the curse 5 days ago. The legendary curse was bizarre, terrifying, and evil. Now, it seemed that this was indeed the case. However, the curse was also a power that everyone yearned for. Gulp, is this the formation that teacher imparted to Sister Yen and the others? It's so strange and powerful. Some of the girls couldn't help but gulp. Not daring to look at Kai Qiaoqing, they muttered under their breath. This formation was indeed very powerful and strange. A hint of envy appeared in their eyes. It was a pity that the last time someone came to bully them, only 4 of them stepped forward. Even though they knew that they were no match for the teacher, they still came forward to defend the teacher. This was what they deserved. The teacher was probably very clear in his heart. Save me, save me. At this moment, Kai Qiaoqing, who was lying on the ground and screaming non-stop, let out a terrified voice. At this moment, she felt as if she was about to face death. She didn't want to die yet. In the surroundings, a group of students from class 2 surrounded Kai Qiaoqing with anxious faces. However, they didn't dare to get close to her. Their faces were pale. Situ Yen, what did you do? Killing is forbidden in the academy. If you kill her, you will have to pay with your life. A young man mustered up his courage and said to Situ Yen, "It's all right, I won't die." Situ Yen was also panicking at this moment. She looked at Wang Xian and Wang Xian replied indifferently, "Let's go." Wang Xian said to Situ Yen before turning around and walking out, "It's teacher." Situ Yen flew down and immediately followed behind Wang Xian. The group of girls also left in a hurry. When they saw that Wang Xian and the rest had left, everyone in class 2 looked at each other in dismay. Kai Qiaoqing was still screaming beside them. One by one the students tried to contact their teacher, but there was no response. "Ah! I'm going to kill all of you. I'm going to kill all of you." At this moment, Kai Qiaoqing's face was filled with malevolence as she trembled. She endured the pain in her body and opened her AI. She was the strongest student in class 2, and she had the teacher's AI. After notifying the teacher, no one replied. The pain in her body did not stop. His bent arm was covered in blood as he tried to contact his mother. "Oh, baby girl, I miss your mother." "Ah, daughter, what's going on? What happened? What happened?" A picture of a woman appeared in the AI. The woman was somewhat strong and exuded a valiant aura. When she saw the picture of her daughter, she was completely stunned. Her face was filled with a violent killing intent. She could see the tables and chairs around her flying backward. "Mommy, come and save me, come and save me, I'm in so much pain, so much pain." At this moment, Kai Qiaoqing's face was covered in blood. Her entire face was completely unrecognizable, and she looked like a devil. "Mommy?" she said to her mother with a face full of pain. "My good daughter, I'll come and find you immediately. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid, Mommy will come right away." Seeing her daughter's miserable state, the woman's face was full of heartache as she said this, and her eyes were filled with malice. "Mommy, help me take revenge. Kill them, kill them." Kai Qiaoqing's face was filled with viciousness as she roared. The woman opposite her flew straight towards her. The pain was tormenting her body. The curse depended on the strength of the caster and the person who was cursed. The pain on Kai Qiaoqing's body would last for at least a few more hours. This was the horror of the curse. While Kai Qiaoqing was in pain, Wang Xian led a group of girls to the front of class 4. The teachers of class 4 were not here either. When He Ziwen saw Situ Yen, Huang Jejia, and the rest coming to seek revenge, he was slightly stunned when he saw Wang Xian. His eyes were filled with vigilance. "Teacher Wang, a few days ago we went to spar with them. They were the ones who lost. We didn't do anything." He Ziwen said to Wang Xian. "It's fine even if they are severely injured in a spar between students. It's just that their skills are inferior to others. You don't have to worry. My students aren't convinced and want to get back at them. I'm only here to take a look. I won't make a move. The academy has its own rules. Furthermore, I don't have the time to play with you guys." Wang Xian said faintly to him. "If that's the case, I might have to offend you. I'm afraid you'll have to carry them away later." He Ziwen raised his head with some confidence. He Ziwen, don't be arrogant. At that time the people from your 3 classes came to provoke and humiliate us. Don't make yourself sound too high and mighty. Huang Jejia immediately walked forward and stared at him with a cold face. We, the students of the Shantian Academy, are fighting for resources. Naturally, we are not satisfied with your class occupying the best training grounds. Even if it was our 3 classes, we didn't bully you together. With your strength, you are not qualified to make us fight together." He Ziwen stared at Huang Jejia and released his pride. He knew the rules of the academy. Even the teachers were not allowed to violate them. Therefore, even if Wang Xian was at the side, his aura was not weaker than anyone else. "A bunch of girls, give us your class 1. If that's the case, we won't challenge you." "That's right, a bunch of girls. Give us that place, ha." Behind He Ziwen, the young men laughed out loud. "Hmph, let's see who's the real deal then. You Bing Bing have just ignited 2 wisps of divine fire to challenge your class 4. Xiaolan, get out here, I want to challenge you." Yu Bingbing and Xiaolan saw how arrogant and insulting they were, so they stood out with furious faces and shouted at those who were more aggressive. Huang Jejia took a few steps forward and locked her gaze on He Ziwen. "Haha, since you're looking for a fight, don't blame us for not being polite. I'll beat you until you call me daddy, haha." The few of them immediately stepped forward and stared at them coldly. They didn't put Huang Jejia and the others in their eyes at all. "Sister Jejia, Bing Bing, teach them a lesson." If you are arrogant now, you will cry later. The group of girls stared at them angrily. Fight. Huang Jiejia and the others also had cold expressions on their faces. The three of them immediately dispersed and stared at their opponents coldly. The entire Xintian Academy was covered by a powerful formation. Their battle wouldn't be able to destroy any of the buildings here. Foolish. 5 days ago we were able to easily crush you. Today it's the same. He Ziwen waved his arm and the formation compass appeared in his hand. Chapter 2290. 2292,290 students will be dealt with by the students. Those who interfere will die. 3-1-1-1-1. Waves of energy rose. Huang Jiejia's 3 wisps of divine fire strength completely erupted. On the side, 2 wisps of divine fires Yu Bingbing and Xiaolan also instantly erupted. Their 2 opponents were also 2 wisps of divine fire. Let them know how powerful our class 4 is. Brother Wen, you can do it. Let this group of girls know how powerful we are, haha. The people from class 4 were shouting excitedly from behind. They knew the strength of class 1. Although Huang Jiejia had broken through, they did not think that He Ziwen would lose to a girl who had just broken through. The battle soon began. The result was without any suspense. Huang Jiejia and the others now had the strange curse technique. They could not fight against people of the same level at all. Ah! What is this? What is this? I admit defeat, I admit defeat. Soon, screams came from He Ziwen and the other 2. In just a few minutes, their faces were extremely pale, and their faces were ferocious as they begged for mercy. Strange, miserable, and fresh blood had completely soaked their clothes. Everyone in class 4 was stunned, and they looked at this scene with fear. At this moment, He Ziwen was no less miserable than Kai Qiaoqing. He lay on the ground and screamed in pain. He stared at his own body in panic. No, 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 I don't want to die. Teacher, save me, save me. He raised his bloody head and begged Wang Xian for help. Don't worry, none of you will die. As for the treatment, it's up to you guys. Hehe. Wang Xian smiled faintly. Treating them? What a joke. Back then Yu Bingbing was seriously injured. Yet all of you didn't care about her at all. Let's go to class 7. Wang Xian said faintly. He turned around and walked towards class 7. HMP serves you right. You dare to bully us. Now you know what will happen to you. Now the group of girls didn't feel sorry for them at all. They were so arrogant just now. Why didn't they continue to be so arrogant now? The group of girls turned around and left in disdain, leaving behind everyone in class 4 who had terrified expressions. What kind of formation did they use? How could it be so strange and terrifying? One by one, the young men and women looked at the 3 people who were wailing on the ground with pale faces and hurriedly notified the teacher. Their expressions were as if they were about to die. The teacher of class 4 quickly received news of the students. He wasn't far from here and immediately flew over. When he saw the miserable state of the 3 most outstanding students in his class, his expression changed slightly. What a cruel and bloody method. As he examined their bodies, the old man's expression turned gloomy. The students of class 7 are Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan. Although they didn't make a move that day, they were so arrogant that they made our class attack together. Both of them possess the strength of 3 wisps of divine fire. It seems that both of them have some relationship with their teacher. That's why they are able to be in the same class. When they arrived at the entrance of class 7, Situ Yen said to Wang Xian. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and shook his head nonchalantly. With your and Huang Jiejia's strength, it's enough. He said indifferently. All right. Situ Yen nodded. With a wave of her arm, a surge of energy landed on the door. In the room, a middle-aged man was sitting in front of a table, explaining his knowledge to the students. Hearing the knocking on the door, he frowned slightly. Bang bang bang. 5 days ago, Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan humiliated class 1. Today class 1 is here to teach us a lesson. At this moment, Situ Yan's voice entered the room. N? Class 1, are these girls courting death? How dare they come here to provoke us? The students of class 7 were listening to their teacher teach them the array formation. When they heard the voices outside, an impatient look appeared on their faces. Are you courting death? Teacher Niu, I want them to scram immediately. Zhao Yuanfeng's face was slightly embarrassed. He immediately stood up and said to the middle-aged teacher in front of him. Sit down. the middle-aged teacher said to him, but there wasn't the slightest fluctuation on his face. During the lesson, immediately leave the range of Class 7. He lightly shouted, and a wave of pressure was released towards the outside. Outside the door, Situ Yen and the rest heard this voice and felt the pressure from it. Their expressions changed slightly. Ha! Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. The aura from his body was so powerful that it could withstand this pressure. He waved his arm. Boom. Following that, the door opened with a loud bang. Seeing Wang Xian opening the door, the girls were slightly stunned. Their faces revealed astonishment. In Class 7, Teacher Nyo and all the students were also slightly shocked. All the students stood up in an instant. Their faces were filled with anger. Sorry to disturb you. 5 days ago, our students were bullied by you. This time we are here to spar. Wang Xian's voice traveled over slowly. It's the teacher from Class 1. He actually came personally. All the students from Class 7 were slightly shocked. Teacher Wang, I'm teaching. Teacher Nyo's face darkened when he saw Wang Xian pushing the door open. He said coldly with some displeasure. That's why I said I'm sorry to disturb you. I'm also very busy. However, 5 days ago the students were bullied by the students from 3 classes. I happen to have the time today to bring them here for a spar. Wang Xian looked at the middle-aged man and said nonchalantly. Although he said that he was disturbing them, it didn't seem like he was disturbing them at all. Spar? When Teacher Nyo saw Wang Xian's attitude, he stood up with a cold expression. He looked at the students behind Wang Xian and the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. Teacher Wang, your punches and kicks are blind. It wouldn't be good if you hurt your students. He said coldly. It's fine. Anyway, there were students who were seriously injured 5 days ago. It would be their incompetence if they were seriously injured again. Wang Xian shook his head nonchalantly. All right. Since we are going to spar, you guys can spar with the students of Class 1. Teacher Nyo laughed coldly and looked at Zhao Yuanfeng and Nyo Feiyuan. Go and guide Teacher Wang's students. Yes, teacher. Don't worry, we will help Teacher Wang educate them. Zhao Yuanfeng and Nyo Feiyuan felt their teacher's anger and smiled. They turned around and looked at Situ Yen, Huang Jejia, and the others with disdain in their eyes. Last time we didn't make a move. Do you feel uncomfortable because we didn't torture you? Zhao Yuanfeng and Nyo Feiyuan walked forward with smiles on their faces as they asked with a cold smile. If you can beat us now, you can think so too. Huang Jejia and Situ Yen walked forward with cold eyes. Punches and kicks have no eyes. Teacher Wang is very clear about the rules of the academy, right? Teacher Nyo looked at Wang Xian and said again. You've already said it once. There's no need to repeat it again. Wang Xian looked at him and replied. You're a new teacher. As a senior, I naturally have to remind you a few more words. Elder Niu said with a smile. He was extremely displeased with Wang Xian's direct breach of the door. This was completely ignoring him and disrespecting him. Since that was the case, there was no need to stand on ceremony. He repeated it repeatedly to remind his students to hit harder. Chapter 2291. 2291 students settle student affairs. Those who interfere will die. 4. Let them crawl out today. In Class 7, Zhao Yuanfeng and Nyo Feiyuan looked at each other and said indifferently. Their faces were full of confidence. Last time, our brother Feng and brother Yuan didn't even make a move. Today they insist on asking for a beating. They really don't know death. They dare to disturb our teacher's class and disturb us. Brother Feng and brother Yuan, teach them a lesson. The students of Class 7 also noticed their teacher's dissatisfaction and shouted loudly. Today we will definitely repay the humiliation of that day tenfold. Huang Jejia and Situ Yan's expressions were incomparably cold. They slowly walked forward and locked their gazes on them. Boom, boom. Their auras exploded, causing the two people opposite to them to be slightly stunned. You guys actually broke through. No wonder you dare to come and find trouble with us. Zhao Yuanfeng and Nyo Feiyuan slightly narrowed their eyes and their expressions were filled with coldness. However, you guys already dare to come and find trouble with us after just breaking through. Today I'll let you guys see how powerful we are. The two of them shouted with cold faces, and their auras also erupted. Boom, boom. The battle erupted. Situ Yen versus Zhao Yuanfeng. Huang Jejia versus Nyo Feiyuan. While the two of them were fighting, a woman stood in front of Kai Qiaoqing who was lying on the ground. "Daughter, who did this? Who did this?" The woman looked at her daughter's miserable state, and her eyes shone with a crazy killing intent. A terrifying aura erupted in the surroundings. The students in the surroundings felt this aura, and their faces were filled with fear. This was Kai Qiaoqing's mother, an eternal God Lord level powerhouse. And her strength was not an ordinary eternal God Lord. As the woman spoke, she immediately transferred the energy into her daughter's body. At the same time, she took out medicinal pills and placed them inside. So ruthless. Feeling her daughter's body, the woman's expression became even more sinister. "Daughter, who did it?" The woman's expression was incomparably cold as she asked once again. "Mother, it's someone from Class 1, it's Class 1 Situ Yen." Kai Qiaoqing saw her mother coming over and couldn't help but shed tears as she spoke with a ferocious expression. "Auntie, the teacher from Class 1 brought a class of students over just now. It was Situ Yen from Class 1 who heavily injured her. They're too cruel." A girl beside her also spoke to the woman. The woman's breathing was a little heavy and her eyes were filled with a cold glint. "Let's go, I'll bring you to get an explanation." The woman's body was filled with a dense murderous aura. She supported her daughter as they walked out. The students of Class 2 hesitated for a moment before hurriedly following behind. "What kind of array formation is this? How can it be so strange?" "No, it's a curse array formation, it's a curse array formation." At Class 7, the battle had already begun for a minute. Teacher Niu stared at Huang Jiejia and Situ Yen with a face full of astonishment. At this moment, their surroundings were shrouded in darkness. A strange array formation was attacking Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan. Both of them were not weak, but when the strange array formation landed on their bodies, their expressions changed drastically. Crack, crack, crack. Blood oozed out of their bodies, their bones began to bend, and their faces were extremely ferocious. "Ah, what kind of array formation is this?" Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan's expressions also changed drastically. The intense pain caused their faces to twist. Wung wung wung. At this moment, the curses from the two of them fell toward them once again. When the curse array fell into their bodies, the two of them directly fell to the ground. Ah! Painful screams came out of the mouths of the two of them. All the surrounding students looked at this scene in shock. "Stop." Teacher Niu, who was originally prepared to watch his students teach their opponents a good lesson, had a drastic change in expression at this moment. He immediately shouted loudly, "Teacher, please don't interfere in the sparring between students." Wang Xian heard his voice and said indifferently, "Admit defeat, admit defeat." Teacher Niu moved his body and was about to fly towards Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan. What a joke. If the others can admit defeat on behalf of others, then there's no need for us to spar in the academy. Wang Xian did not give him any face. With a wave of his arm, palm after palm appeared on the ground and grabbed onto Teacher Niu's legs. Ha! When Teacher Niu saw that Wang Xian was actually attacking him, his expression changed drastically. He stared at Wang Xian coldly. "Don't you understand the rules, senior?" Hehe. Wang Xian smiled at him with a face full of mockery. Just now he was still talking about the rules. He even said that he was a senior and needed to remind him a little more. "Now, you." Teacher Niu's expression changed drastically. All the students around were shocked as they watched the two teachers' game. However, all the students in Class 7 looked extremely embarrassed. Even the teachers were embarrassed when they were attacked. "We admit defeat. We admit defeat." At this moment, Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan, who were lying on the ground with pained expressions on their faces, shouted in pain. "Ichimch, weren't you arrogant just now and told us to crawl away? Why are you admitting defeat now? Trash." Situ Yen, Huang Jiejia, and Niu Feiyuan looked at them with mockery on their faces. "Ah! Teacher, save us." However, at this moment, the two of them did not hear what they were saying at all. Their faces were filled with pain and fear as they begged Teacher Niu for help. This strange formation made them completely afraid. When Teacher Niu heard their cries for help, his expression changed again. He walked over with a gloomy face. He took out some pills and injected a large amount of energy into their bodies. As expected of the curse formation. It's so sinister and strange. Sensing the injuries on their bodies, Teacher Niu raised his head and stared at Wang Xian as he said coldly. With their injuries, if they wanted to recover on their own, it would take them more than 10 years or even dozens of years to do so. In fact, if they didn't have any medicinal pills, there might be side effects. This was the power of the curse formation. The students are being bullied. Teach them some battle techniques. Wang Xian looked at him and said calmly, "Let's go." He turned around and said to the students. The girls nodded immediately and smiled. "Who hurt my daughter? Show yourself." At this moment, an extremely cold voice was heard. It was accompanied by a terrifying pressure. Everyone was slightly shocked. Under this terrifying pressure, the students' bodies froze and their faces turned extremely pale. Wang Xian was slightly stunned. He waved his arm to block this pressure. But at this moment, a woman supported a woman and landed in front of them. The woman was naturally Kai Qiaoqing. Although she had undergone treatment, she could still see the miserable state of her body. Her entire face was incomparably pale, and her eyes were filled with icy rage. Behind her, a group of students from class 2 ran over. Seeing this scene, Teacher Niu frowned slightly. "Mom, it's her. It's her who injured me. It's her." Kai Qiaoqing's voice suddenly sounded. With a savage expression, she pointed at Situ Yen and screamed. Chapter 2292. 2292 killed everyone in a domineering manner. Kai Qiaoqing pointed her finger at Situ Yen. Her scream was a little ear-piercing. Situ Yan's face changed when she was pointed at. She looked even paler. She looked at her teacher in fear. "You are the one who hurt my daughter. You are so vicious at such a young age." Before everyone could speak, the woman stared at Situ Yen and questioned her coldly. Situ Yen opened her mouth. Wang Xian waved his hand and asked her not to speak. "Who are you?" He narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at the woman as he asked indifferently. "I am Kai Qiaoqing's mother. My daughter was tortured so miserably. I want to ask, are all of you so ruthless?" The woman looked at Wang Xian and asked with a cold expression. "Mother, he is the teacher of class 1. Kai Qiaoqing whispered to her mother at the side. "The teacher of the academy?" "The teacher of the academy led his students here to bully other students. How can he be so cruel?" The woman's face turned even colder when she heard her daughter's words. She stared at Wang Xian and questioned him. Her valiant aura was fully displayed. "Is she a teacher from the Shantian Academy?" Wang Xian ignored the woman's gaze and turned his head to look at Teacher Niu. "No." Teacher Niu glanced at Wang Xian and replied indifferently. Upon seeing this scene, he was actually feeling better. "Your students' methods are indeed a little cruel." In the end, he couldn't help but comment indifferently. This curse technique was indeed extremely terrifying, cruel, and bloody. 5 days ago when your students came to humiliate my students, it was fine. Now that I've defeated you, it's not allowed?" Wang Xian spoke to Elder Niu with some disdain as he looked at the woman slowly. "If you're not a teacher of the academy, how dare you be so arrogant here? Do you understand the rules of the academy? Students are allowed to settle their own matters. Even teachers are not allowed to interfere, let alone your parents?" He said coldly to the woman. When the woman heard Wang Xian's words, her face was filled with anger. A terrifying aura erupted from her body. "Even if we can't interfere, your students have gone too far. You must give my daughter an explanation for this matter." She stared at Wang Xian coldly. How could she be willing to give up when her daughter was in such a miserable state? She must give her an explanation. "Why didn't you say anything when your daughter was humiliating others?" Wang Xian stared at the woman and said coldly. I was merely sparring with them, but you guys." Kai Qiaoqing said angrily when she heard Wang Xian's words. I'll settle my students' matter. Since someone has interfered, I'll die." A hint of brutality flashed across Wang Xian's eyes when he saw their actions. "Bus." He waved his arm and the 5 elements millstone appeared in his hand instantly. Bus, bus, bus. The next moment, the entire world underwent a terrifying transformation. The formation set up by the surrounding academies emitted cracking sounds. The entire space underwent a terrifying transformation in an instant. A black hole. A terrifying black hole surrounded the surroundings. Roar, roar, roar. At this moment, the divine dragon on the 5 elements millstone let out a roar and the formation set up on it was activated immediately. A chain that looked like a water snake attacked the woman directly. What? The sudden change caused everyone's expression to change drastically. Teacher Niu widened his eyes as he scanned his surroundings with a face full of astonishment. He then swept his gaze across Wang Xian. He actually dared to make a move right here. Furthermore, looking at his violent killing intent, it was definitely not as simple as making a move. All students, come behind me. An embarrassed look appeared on his face as he shouted at his students. Teacher Wang, what are you doing? Sensing the terrifying energy around him, he could not help but shout at Wang Xian. He had mastered 5 laws and was not a weak powerhouse. However, he had never made a move in the academy before. He did not dare to be so unbridled. What are you going to do? Do you really think that we are easy to bully? The woman's expression changed drastically when she saw Wang Xian making a move. She immediately shielded her daughter behind her and unleashed the strength of an eternal celestial master level 4. Her strength was slightly weaker than Wang Xian and Teacher Niu. With such strength, you dare to be so arrogant in the Shantian Academy? You also dare to act rashly? Then you shall stay here forever. Wang Xian revealed a cold expression. It was obvious that such a person was not a good person. The heart of light and darkness could also sense a person's good and bad qualities. With such strength, he still dared to be arrogant towards him. If he dared to be unbridled in front of his students, then he would kill him. Hiss. The water snake formed by the formation attacked her directly. At the same time, Wang Xian waved his arm and continued to set up the formation. Numerous blood-red chains appeared in the void. The blood-red chains revealed a bloodthirst that caused one to be in a trance. You. When the woman saw his undisguised killing intent, golden rays shot out from her body and slashed at the water snake in front of Wang Xian. However, when her attack landed on the water snake, her expression changed drastically. She was not his opponent. Are you going to kill me? The woman's expression was extremely ugly as she shouted at Wang Xian. Walala. In the next moment, the blood-red chains attacked the woman. The huge gap made it impossible for him to withstand the attacks of the water snake and the blood-red chains. Poo. When she was unable to dodge in time, the chains penetrated her body and wrapped around her body. Ah! The woman let out a shrill roar as her eyes revealed a look of extreme fear. This young teacher really dared to kill her. Flee! Fear appeared in the woman's eyes, and her figure began to turn illusory. However, at this moment, the surrounding black hole trembled, and an inexplicable suction force made it impossible for her to return to her eternal divine kingdom. Not good. What kind of formation is this? No. The woman let out a mournful cry, and her face was filled with panic. What is this? Teacher Niu's expression changed drastically as well. He could sense that the woman wanted to escape. However, the black hole around her emitted an inexplicable tearing force, making it impossible for her to escape. What kind of formation is this? It's so terrifying to trap the Eternal Lord. Teacher Niu's expression changed drastically as well. His eyes were filled with fear. Crush. At this moment, the blood-red chains penetrated the woman's body and pulled her towards Wang Xian. No, don't kill me. Don't kill me. The woman was completely terrified at this moment. She shouted at Wang Xian with a face full of fear. At the back, Kai Qiaoqing and all the students from Class 2 were completely dumbfounded. They never expected that the teacher from Class 1 would be so violent and vicious. He was actually going to kill Kai Qiaoqing's mother. Furthermore, the other party's mother was completely helpless. No, mother. At this moment, the arrogant Kai Qiaoqing also panicked and shouted loudly. Chapter 2293. 2293 was in the midst of the horror of killing everyone. Walala. In the empty space of the black hole, a blood-red chain rang. The woman widened her eyes and looked at Wang Xian with a face full of panic. Her body was trembling non-stop. At the back, Kai Qiaoqing's face was filled with fear. She was shouting loudly for her mother. All the students in Class 2 shuddered and were trembling. Bang! Wang Xian stretched out his hand and grabbed the woman's neck. There was a hint of a smile in his eyes. Metal attribute. Cough, don't kill me. If you kill me, you have also violated the laws of the Tianzi continent. The woman trembled as she saw Wang Xian grabbing her neck. Intruding into the Shantian Academy and using the might of the Eternal Lord to suppress the students, you deserve to die. Wang Xian stared at the woman coldly and said with a grim expression. So you go to hell. Wang Xian's mind stirred. Soul Catcher. When the soul catcher was activated, the woman's face instantly became absent-minded. There was even a hint of fear and despair on her face. But very soon Wang Xian withdrew the soul catcher. A terrifying pressure was transmitted into her mind. "Summon your eternal kingdom." He shouted softly and transmitted it into the woman's mind. The woman, whose face was lifeless and her eyes were pale, opened her mouth slightly. Behind her, an eternal kingdom slowly appeared in the sky. However, the black hole was a little small. This space could not contain her eternal kingdom at all. Wang Xian moved his body and the phantom image of the dragon palace appeared behind him. He pulled the eternal kingdom into the dragon palace. Cough, cough, cough. At the same time, the woman disconnected from her eternal kingdom. Blood kept spurting out of her mouth and her eyes regained a trace of color. However, this trace of color was more of despair. "No, no, don't kill my mother," sob, sob. At this moment, Kai Qiaoqing, who was at the side, had a complete breakdown. Her eyes were bloodshot as she kept shouting at Wang Xian. "Don't kill my mother. It's Shangguan Zhihan or Shi Jingyang. They are the ones who came looking for us to cause trouble for your student. It's all them. Don't kill my mother. Woo woo, it's all them. No, no, teacher." She sat on the ground with a horrified expression and begged Wang Xian for mercy. Wang Xian's hand movements paused slightly. "Shangguan Zhihan? Shi Jingyang? Shangguan Zhihan, Shi Jingyang? Aren't they the heavens-ordered disciples of the Beast Tamer Institute? They are also famous in our institute. They were the ones who instructed Kai Qiaoqing and the rest to do it." Everyone around was slightly stunned when they heard Kai Qiaoqing's words. They were filled with astonishment. Their actions 5 days ago were actually instigated by the two heavens favorites of the Beast Tamer Institute. Why? This made some students think of the rumors about Teacher Wang on the AI recently, and some people had some understanding. So someone was behind it on purpose. But looking at the powerful and terrifying Teacher Wang in front of them, they could imagine that Shangguan Zhihan and Shi Jingyang were probably going to be in trouble. Perhaps they were going to be killed. So what if they were killed for slandering an eternal God Lord level powerhouse in secret? Even if he couldn't make a move on the surface, it would be easy to kill them in the dark. "You're courting death," Wang Xian shouted coldly. His palm landed on the woman's head and threw her into the dragon palace before disappearing instantly. "No!" Kai Qiaoqing screamed in despair when she saw this scene. Her mother was an eternal lord level powerhouse. Her mother doted on her very much. It was also because of her mother that she had developed such an arrogant and despotic personality. She did not put anyone in her eyes. In fact, 5 days ago, if not for someone beside her reminding her, she would have struck even more ruthlessly. But now her mother had been killed directly from behind. She did not even run away. When all the students in Class 2 saw this scene, their bodies trembled, and their eyes were filled with fear. An expert who was almost on par with their teacher was killed by the teacher of Class 1. He was killed right in front of them. This was too terrifying. When Teacher Niu saw this scene, his heart pounded violently. He could sense that Wang Xian's strength was about the same as his. However, this strange space could actually prevent the Eternal Lord from escaping. He couldn't do such a formation. The reason why the Eternal Lord was so difficult to kill was that they could escape in an instant. However, if they encountered Wang Xian, they would really die. Even he didn't dare to fight against such a person. In particular, the other party was too unbridled. They actually dared to kill that woman. Even if what happened today was the woman's fault, killing her would be too serious. If they were to really bicker, he would have to pay a heavy price. When he heard Kai Qiaoqing's words, his expression turned ugly as well. Is what she said true? Teacher Niu stared at Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan with a dark expression as he asked in a low voice. Teacher, we. At this moment, the two of them had just been released from the array curse. When they saw this scene, they almost cried. If they had known that Teacher Wang was so terrifying and so unbridled, they wouldn't have dared to do such a thing no matter how much benefits he gave them. Even an Eternal Lord-level expert had been killed. If the other party wanted to deal with them, they wouldn't even know how they died. Although the laws of the Tianzi continent were perfect, an expert trying to assassinate a weakling was completely undetectable. You're courting death. For the sake of 2 students, you actually dared to provoke an Eternal Lord. When Elder Niu saw their expressions, he revealed an extremely furious expression. How could an Eternal Lord-level expert be so easily provoked? Even if you were a student of the Shantian Academy, the other party would still dare to kill you in secret. Especially since this Wang Xian knew how to curse the formation. If he were to kill them, it would be too easy. No one would be able to find any evidence. In a while, kneel down and beg Teacher Wang for forgiveness. Tell him everything. Elder Niu looked at the two reckless fellows and his face turned black. If they were not the sons of his relatives and friends, he would not care about the two fellows who were courting death. Yes, yes. Yes, teacher. At this moment, they knew what to do even without Teacher Niu's instructions. The other party had killed an eternal lord without any restraint. Crack, crack, crack. At this moment, the surrounding formation suddenly let out the sound of collapsing. Wang Xian raised his head and saw someone attacking the formation outside. He waved his arm. Buzz. With a wave of his arm, he withdrew the formation. The moment the formation withdrew, the surrounding sounds of the world wailing could be heard. Outside, more than 10 teachers saw the formation retreating and sensed the changes in the world. Their expressions changed drastically. The Master of God has fallen. What happened? An old man roared in anger. His face was filled with vigilance. The formation disappeared. Their eyes were fixed on the area below and swept across everyone. Teachers, there is an expert who broke into the Shantian Academy. He has been killed by me. Wang Xian saw more than a dozen teachers outside. Some were strong and some were weak. He spoke nonchalantly. Chapter 2294. 2294 killed everyone in a terrifying manner. Boom, boom, boom. The mournful cries of heaven and earth resounded in the sky above Shantian Academy. This time all the students and teachers raised their heads in shock. Their faces were filled with shock. The mournful cries of heaven and earth represented the fall of an eternal God Lord-level expert. How could such an expert fall in Shantian Academy? Could it be an eternal Lord-level powerhouse who had passed away? Some teachers flew over quickly. In front of Class 7, more than a dozen teachers looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. His calm voice caused everyone to be stunned. An powerhouse has barged into the Shantian Academy. The teachers frowned slightly and showed a stunned expression. Which expert dared to barge into the Shantian Academy? This was simply courting death. In the entire Shantian domain, the safest place was the Shantian Academy. Barging in here was no different from courting death. No one dared to do it. Teachers, you have to uphold justice for your students. He killed my mother, he killed my mother. Right at this moment, an incomparably mournful voice came out from Kai Qiaoqing's mouth. She knelt on the ground and roared with a face full of malevolence and despair. Ha! When the teachers heard her, they were even more stunned. Their eyes were sparkling. Your mother is not from the academy. However, because of the sparring between students, you were injured and came here to suppress the students of the Shantian Academy. You deserve to die. Wang Xian stared at Kai Qiaoqing and said coldly. When the teachers heard their words, their faces were filled with astonishment. Teacher Niu, what happened? One of the teachers asked Teacher Niu, who was at the back. It's indeed as Teacher Wang said. Teacher Wang's students had seriously injured her. Her mother came to interrogate her and was killed by Teacher Wang. Although the students' parents can enter the academy directly, her mother's behavior was indeed a little too excessive and arrogant. Teacher Niu was silent for a moment before he spoke up. He was obviously speaking up for Wang Xian. Now that Kai Qiaoqing's mother was dead and his two students were involved, he could only try to curry favor with Wang Xian so that he wouldn't hold a grudge against them. HMPH, the parents of the students actually dared to come to our academy to denounce us. So what if they're dead? A seemingly rude teacher harumphed coldly when he heard his words. Clearly in his opinion he should just kill them. The other teachers fell silent. It was wrong for outsiders to barge into the Heavenly Academy and act arrogantly, but killing them directly was a little too serious. Let the Academy's leaders decide on this matter. An elder said softly. The other teachers also nodded. They couldn't interfere in this matter. Teacher Wang, it's our fault. We shouldn't have listened to the bewitchment of Shangguan Zhihan and Shi Jingyang. It's our fault. At this moment at the back, Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan were kneeling on the ground and begging Wang Xian for mercy. Wang Xian glanced at them and didn't bother with them. I'm going to take care of some matters. Please inform Director Jean about this matter. Wang Xian spoke to Teacher Niu and flew towards the west. Director Jean? All right. Teacher Niu was slightly taken aback. He nodded his head and looked at Wang Xian. How did this involve Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang from the Beast Taming Academy? When the teachers saw the sudden situation, they walked over and asked in astonishment. Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang knew that they were also famous students of Shintian Academy. Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang found a few freshmen and severely injured Wang Laoshi's student. They might have spread bad news about Wang Laoshi. Oh no, he went to the west. Could it be that he is going to kill Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang? As Teacher Niu spoke, he suddenly raised his voice and a look of shock appeared on his face. What? The surrounding teachers were taken aback. It's hard to say. If he dares to kill an eternal God Lord, he might be able to kill 2 students. Following which, Elder Niu frowned and continued speaking with an ugly expression on his face. Report this to the directors immediately. An elder opened his mouth slightly and hurriedly spoke. At this moment, more and more teachers rushed over. When they had just understood the situation here, they were also somewhat dumbstruck. The new teacher of the new student class 1 had actually killed an Eternal Lord rank 4 expert, causing him to not even be able to escape. Such strength was truly terrifying. Thinking that he might have gone to kill 2 students now, the other teachers were even more dumbstruck. This was too unbridled. The teachers were so shocked, not to mention the students of Class 1, Class 2 and Class 7. They looked at Teacher Wang's disappearing figure with astonishment. Shangguan Jihan, Shi Jingyang. They should be the 2 from the House of War Beasts. Wang Xian flew in the direction of the Beast Tamer School and took out his AI to search. Both of them were famous people in the Shintian Academy, so they could easily find out a lot of information. When he thought about how the 2 of them dared to target him in secret, a murderous intent flashed across his eyes. He had brought this upon himself. He came to the sky above the Beast Taming School and scanned his surroundings with his yin-yang and 5 elements dragon eyes. Soon he saw 2 familiar figures in a huge building in the middle. Beast Taming Ground, the largest beast taming ground in the Beast Taming Academy. At this moment, in the center of the Beast Taming Ground, Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang were standing in front of a few sea monsters. There were many students gathered around them. The 2 of them were the center of attention in the mysterious Sky Academy. Wherever they went, there would be people following them. In particular, the 2 of them were relatively handsome. There were more than a dozen girls gathered around them. The 2 of them were just about to purchase some battle beasts from the academy when the battle at the front lines caused all of their battle pets to fall. It's a pity that we don't have many divine stones left. The 2 of them looked at the sea monster in front of them and felt a little helpless in their hearts. The collapse of the battle beast house had caused them to have quite a number of meteorites. Brother Jingyang, even if you don't have any more divine stones, you can still purchase battle pets with 9 wisps of divine fire. You're not like us who are too poor. A girl pouted and said from the side. Hee, when your beast taming skills improve a little more, you won't be lacking in divine stones. Shi Jingyang smiled faintly. His face was filled with a hint of arrogance. Clap, clap, clap. Just as they were talking, Wang Xian slowly walked over to them. He looked at Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang who were in front of him. His eyes were filled with indifference. To provoke a powerhouse, you have to pay with your life. When Wang Xian was 20 meters away from them, his voice entered their ears. Ha! The 2 of them were slightly stunned when they heard this voice. They turned around in astonishment. The people who were surrounding them also turned around in astonishment. It's you? When the 2 of them saw Wang Xian, their expressions changed drastically. A hint of fear flashed in their eyes. You brought this upon yourself. Wang Xian looked at them. With a wave of his arm, a terrifying energy engulfed them. Chapter 2295. 2295. If 2295 was killed, so be it. Boom. In the Beast Tamer yard of the Beast Tamer School, a terrifying explosion sounded. The energy that was filled with destruction landed on the bodies of Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang, instantly exploding. The gray energy directly caused the 2 of them to dissipate. The 2 people who had been standing there proudly just a moment ago had completely disappeared, not even leaving a trace of ashes behind. A horrified scream came from the mouths of a few female students around them. They looked at the position of Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang in astonishment. Their eyes swept across Wang Xian and were filled with fear. Shangguan Jihan and Shi Jingyang were actually killed. They were actually killed by someone. What happened? What happened? Some of the surrounding people looked over with doubtful expressions. The sudden explosion shocked them as well. Someone actually dared to make a move in the beast taming ground. What's going on? At this moment, the two teachers in the beast taming ground flew over and looked around with a frown. Because Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang had disappeared, those who didn't see it didn't know what had happened. He killed Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang. He killed them. A female student pointed at Wang Xian in horror. However, she kept retreating. What? The two teachers were slightly stunned. Their faces were filled with astonishment. They looked at Wang Xian and locked onto him with their auras. I am a teacher of the academy. The academy will naturally look for me for this matter. I will also explain it to them. Wang Xian looked at the two teachers and walked straight out. He really killed Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang. The two teachers were slightly shocked when they heard his words. Their faces were filled with shock. When they saw Wang Xian leaving, the two of them looked at each other. One of them followed beside Wang Xian while the other immediately informed the experts of the beast taming school and the teachers of Shangguan Jahan, Shi Jingyang and the rest. Boom. At this moment, everyone in the entire beast taming ground was shocked. Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang were actually killed by a teacher. What kind of hatred do they have? I saw it just now. They were killed instantly. Both of them didn't even have any ashes. This is too terrifying. Why did that teacher kill Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang directly? Shocked voices rang out in the beast taming ground. Everyone's eyes widened as they discussed in disbelief. A teacher killing a student. This was the first time this had happened in the Xintian Academy. Even if a student had committed a huge mistake, there would still be law enforcement to deal with it. Now that they were killed on the spot, not even ashes were left. It could be said that they were extremely ferocious. This matter was spreading within the Xintian Academy at a terrifying speed. It was spreading on the AI. At the same time, Shangguan Jahan's teacher was also his master. Shi Jingyang's grandfather, Elder Shi, soon received the news that they had been killed. When they heard about this matter, they were completely stunned and immediately flew towards the academy. At the same time, the principal of the Beast Taming Academy, an expert at the pinnacle of the Eternal Divine Lord Realm, and several directors of the Beast Taming Academy also received the news. The two heavens favorites of the Beast Taming School were killed. This was a major event for the entire Xintian Academy. The higher-ups of the Beast Taming School immediately flew toward the array yard. The teachers of the other schools also came over with some curiosity. At this moment, Director Jean also received the news. When she learned that Wang Xian had killed the parents of a student and two heavens favorites of the Beast Taming School, she was also stunned. Looking at this news, she felt that it was extremely troublesome. Wang Xian was personally arranged by the dean. How could he be an ordinary person if the dean was able to arrange it personally? Although Wang Xian didn't deserve to die for his crimes, he had violated the rules of the Xintian Academy and was going to be severely punished. Let's ask the dean. Dean Jean mumbled and immediately sent a message to the dean. Dean Jean, what's going on? Your teacher of the formation court forcefully killed a prodigy of our academy. Why haven't you suppressed him yet? At this moment, the door opened with a loud bang, and three figures rushed in furiously. Two old men and a demonic beast were filled with rage. Vice Principal Qing Dean Hua, Brother Yao, I know about this matter. I am waiting for the principal's reply. Seeing that they had all entered the room, Department Head Jean rubbed his eyebrows and stood up with a bitter expression on his face. Waiting for the principal's reply? Do you really need the principal's reply for such a small matter? It isn't good for a teacher to kill his students by force. Thus, we should just imprison him and... As the old man in the center spoke, a terrifying energy suddenly gushed out from the room. Department Head Jin's expression changed slightly. He hurriedly bowed respectfully. The other people's pupils also slightly contracted, and they stood there respectfully. Kill him then? Before the energy condensed into a human figure, just a sound was heard and it immediately disappeared. However, the few experts from the Beast Tamer School were slightly stunned, their faces filled with astonishment. Their headmaster had always been fair and impartial. Even if it was his own descendant who had made a mistake, he was still the same as the commoners, and now... They looked at Director Jean in astonishment. Director Jean had told the principal in advance that he might know some things. I don't know much either, but that teacher Wang was personally arranged by the principal. Director Jean opened his mouth and said to them. Personally arranged by the principal? A few days ago, the guards came to inform us that a young man had come to the academy, and the principal had personally come to receive him. This. Vice Principal Qing widened his eyes, and a glint flashed in them. Let's end this matter here. Kai Qiaoqing's mother came to cause trouble, and she was executed on the spot. Shengguan Zhihan and Shi Xingyang have been secretly disrespectful to the academy's teachers, and they have offended the experts. If you want to kill them, so be it. As for the two teachers and their families, you can handle them. Director Jean looked at them and said solemnly, "All right." Everyone nodded without the slightest objection. Since the principal had spoken, even if that Wang Laosher killed them for no reason, he would still be innocent. The words of the principal were above everything in the mysterious sky domain. Vice Principal, Director, how should we deal with the matter of Wang Laosher killing Shengguan Zhihan and Shi Xingyang? Vice Principal, we can't let such a teacher off so easily. Such an influence. Enough. The few of them walked out of the room. Shengguan Zhihan Laosher, who was waiting outside, growled with a gloomy face. However, before he could speak, he was interrupted by Vice Principal Qin. Two weaklings actually dare to play tricks on the experts behind their backs. If they die, so be it. This matter will end here. If anyone dares to deal with that Wang Laosher secretly, don't blame our Shintian Academy for being impolite. All of you should go back and tell their families that they deserve to die. Vice Principal Qing spoke to them sternly. The teachers outside were slightly shocked and their faces were filled with shock. Chapter 2296. 2296-2296 Exploding AI. The new student teacher forcefully killed the arrogant parents of the students who had entered the academy. Forcefully killed two students who had provoked him behind his back. Two pieces of news quickly spread throughout the entire Shintian Academy. All the students were stunned when they saw this news. Some people said that the killing was good and that the prestige of the Shintian Academy and the experts were inviolable. Some people also said that it was too serious and too excessive. However, the academy didn't reply or punish that teacher. This caused some students to be extremely shocked. The teachers and family members of Shengguan Zhihan and Shi Xingyang who were killed didn't say anything either, as if this matter didn't happen. Everything was extremely calm. Other than some students discussing such a huge matter, it didn't cause too much of a stir. Only some teachers in the academy knew some inside information. Many people guessed that teacher Wang might have a deep relationship with Director Jean. That was why he was not punished this time. After all, Director Jean was a powerhouse at the peak of the Eternal Lord level and the wife of a powerhouse who was the Dean's descendant. It was still possible to suppress this matter. After all, it was those people who were arrogant and seeking death. Wang Xian did not care about killing those three people at all. With the relationship between him and the Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation, let alone killing three people, even if he killed 30,000 of them, he reckoned that it would not be a big deal. He had also finished dealing with the students in the class. At this moment he was staying in the Dragon Palace's pet shop. The Dragon Palace's pet shop had been open for a few days last month. Today it was ready to officially open for business. He was going to start selling his pets. After a rough calculation, he had obtained more than 120 Eternal God Lord level war pets from the extreme cold northern region this time. The ice drill croc was the highest level. Other than the ice drill croc, the most valuable ones were the 99 northern howling sky wolves. They stood in a row with an imposing manner that shook the sky. Other than these, there was one Eternal God Lord level 4 war pet, 3 level 3 war pets, and more than a dozen level 1 war pets. These were all worth a lot. Of course, the value of the entire pack of icy wolves was not low either. 3,521 ice wolves were comparable to dozens of level 1 Eternal Lord war pets. If all of these were sold, putting everything aside, it would be enough for Wang Xian to advance to level 2 Eternal Lord war pets. There are a little too many war pets this time. It's still too early to sell them one by one. Let's see if there are any big buyers who can buy up to 1,000 of them in one go. Wang Xian mumbled. He couldn't stay here to sell his pets. It was too much of a waste of time. Let's post some information on the AI. Wang Xian opened the AI and posted the information on the shop of the Dragon Palace's war pets. They were selling the ice wolf which was at the peak of the godly state and the war pet which was the main war pet of the eternal godly state. After posting the information, Wang Xian sent the information to the girls who were descendants of Xian Tian one by one. At that time, the main reason for adding their artificial intelligence was to let them buy war pets. The last time a middle-aged man who mastered 7 to 8 laws wanted to buy a war pet, let him know as well. Wang Xian thought to himself and sent out the information one by one. After sending out the information, Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and took a look at some of the information. Now that they were in the Tianzi continent, it was necessary to have some basic information. When Wang Xian saw the trending topics recently, he was stunned. One of the trending topics was the invincible heaven's pride in the land of battle techniques, a man and a beast guarding a city, and the ice drill alligator, a level 5 battle pet of the eternal celestial master. He opened the video and saw the scene that happened in Tianbei Haiqing. This guy. Wang Xian looked at such a clear video and some text descriptions. The corner of his mouth twitched. At that time he was curious about what this guy was filming for. It turned out that he was using it to show off. However, this video did attract the attention of the entire natural selection continent. Not to mention the attention of the invincible battle technique itself, just the attention of the ice drill crocodile mount was enough to attract everyone. How boring. Wang Xian shook his head. Looking at the replies below, the corner of his mouth twitched. The comments below that wanted to give birth to a monkey for him and marry him actually amounted to tens of millions. There was even a fan club for the invincible battle technique. What the fuck? This fellow was even more famous than a celebrity. What is this? Suddenly Wang Xian's eyes lit up. Looking at the topic that was trending below, his eyes sparkled. The roar of 1,000 wolves, the roar of 3,000 to 4,000 ice-breaking wolves, terrorizing millions of sea monsters. Wang Xian opened the video. The video was also shot by the invincible combat techniques. It was obviously an unintentional scene. 3,000 to 4,000 ice-breaking wolves stood on the wall of 10,000 miles and let out a roar. It was obvious that millions of sea monsters were stunned. Such an imposing scene attracted the attention of many people. It seemed like their blood was boiling. As for the comments below, some people guessed that it was a battle pet tamed by a powerful beast tamer in the land of battle techniques. Some people were envious and wished that this battle pet was their own. A mount was the love of all the powerhouses, just like how ordinary people loved supercars. I didn't expect this ice wolf pack to become famous. Is it easier to attack? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows as his eyes sparkled. He could use the ice wolves to promote his Dragon Palace's pet shop. If he could get the entire natural selection continent to pay attention to the Dragon Palace's pet shop, it would be much more convenient as long as he had a pet and could sell it instantly in the future. As he thought to himself, he took out his AI and sent a message to Invincible in Combat Arts. This fellow was so famous in the Tianzi continent. Wouldn't it be better to ask him to help with the publicity? At the thought of this, a smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. Damn, that pack of ice wolves is really popular now. Damn, if I had known earlier, I would have snatched some ice wolves even if I wanted to. With thousands of ice wolves following behind me, it's simply too cool. Wang Xian sent me a message. He is definitely here to collect my debt. He wants me to pay back the money that I, invincible of battle techniques, owe with my abilities? No way. At this moment, Invincible of battle techniques was looking at the AI leisurely in an extremely luxurious high-tech villa. When he saw the message sent by Wang Xian, the corner of his mouth twitched. He didn't even take a look at it. Damn you, you idiot. You actually didn't reply to my message. Alright, just you wait. Wang Xian waited for more than 10 minutes and realized that there was no reply. His face was dark. However, at this moment, there were many people looking for him in Wang Xian's brain. Some of them were customers who had bought his battle pet before. There were also some powerhouses who didn't manage to buy his battle pet last time. At this moment, when they saw his message, they immediately came forward to inquire. Wang Xian immediately replied to them one by one. At this moment, a group of unmarried girls from the descendants of Xian Tian also saw his message. Some of the girls vomited blood when they saw that he was actually trying to sell them his pets. It seemed like the last time he left his contact information, he wanted them to buy his items. Chapter 2297. 2297 was furious. There's something wrong with that Wang Xian's brain. He just sent me a message asking me if I want to buy a pet. This fellow, I'm as pretty as a flower and he didn't want to chat with me. Now he's asking me if I want to buy a war pet. I've also received his message. He even said that there are a lot of war pets for the eternal Godlord. Is this fellow trying to trick us? It's possible. Sisters, please pay attention. If there's any situation, report it immediately. In the group chat of the female students of the descendants of Xian Tian who were currently unmarried, a group of female students received Wang Xian's message. When they saw the message, the corners of their mouths twitched. They scolded Wang Xian for being blind. Instantly, the entire group chat was bustling with activity. No female students replied to Wang Xian's message. The middle-aged powerhouse who came last time and mastered 7 to 8 laws didn't reply either. What are they really doing? At this moment, Wang Xian, who was in the Dragon Palace's pet shop, revealed a helpless expression. There were a few people who contacted him just now, but they didn't buy any. Even if they did, they would only buy one. He had too many battle pets in his hands. Should I advertise? Wang Xian thought to himself. He could advertise in the AI. As long as he had the money, he could spread the word across the entire natural selection continent. Furthermore, if he was willing to spend a lot of money, the AI would even automatically pop up an advertisement once he opened the AI. It was really awesome. Advertise. If the Dragon Palace's war pet becomes popular this time, there's no need to go through so much trouble next time. War pets are precious after all. It's not something that can be bought just because you want to. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. He decided to advertise a wave of advertisements. Furthermore, it would be a big advertisement. He gritted his teeth and thought for a while. Then he turned on his AI and began to edit a video. This video was naturally the popular Thousand Wolves Roar video. Currently, the popularity of this video was very high. It was estimated that there were over 100 billion people in the entire Tianzi continent who had seen this video. The comments below were all about the yearning and desire for battle pets. Taking advantage of the popularity of this advertisement, it was still possible. Wang Xian used his brain to edit it. Title: 3521 Ice-Breaking Wolf Roars. The ice-drilling crocodile mount under the invincible battle technique came from the Dragon Palace's battle pets. The title was accompanied by a video of a group of ice-breaking wolves roaring. There was also a line of text at the bottom of the video. It read, "With the strength of that trash who is invincible in battle techniques, it is impossible for him to defend a city alone. The mount he is riding is from the Dragon Palace's pet shop. There are more than 3,000 ice wolves and they are also from the Dragon Palace's pet shop." Currently, the Dragon Palace's pet shop was selling all the ice wolves. They were selling a large number of northern howling celestial wolves and selling the level 5 sea monster, Ice Drill Crocodile, the Eternal Lord. With a line of text attached to the video, Wang Xian looked at the price of the promotion. Black, this is really black. If I want to promote the entire Tianzi continent, the divine stones required can be comparable to a level 3 pet of an Eternal Lord. It will be able to increase the number of Eternal Lords in the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian's face was completely black. However, he still decided to put in a lot of effort. As long as this promotion was made public, his Dragon Palace's battlefield would definitely be famous across the Tianzi continent. In the future, when he captured and tamed the sea monster, he would only need to post a message to sell it. It would be extremely convenient. Such a huge promotion was not something that could be done on the AI. In less than half an hour, a middle-aged man came to the Dragon Palace's war pet shop. The middle-aged man was a staff member of the AI and was specifically responsible for the promotion. Since Wang Xian was doing such a large-scale promotion, he naturally had to conduct an offline transaction. Sir, young Master Invincible of Battle Tactics is a peerless heaven's favorite in the land of battle tactics. His status is extraordinary. This term of yours, ahem, will anger young Master Invincible of Battle Tactics and make the land of battle tactics unhappy. After discussing everything, the middle-aged man looked at the advertisement that was edited by Wang Xian. He coughed and asked in embarrassment. It's all right. If there's anything, you can only come to me. Wang Xian waved his hand. If Invincible of Battle Tactics really dared to come to him, he would be happy to do so. Damn it, he didn't even reply to his messages. The next time he saw him, he would know that the one who owed money was the grandson. Alright, as long as you insist on doing so, sir, our AI brain will do the same. We will promote the entire AI brain. The duration of the promotion will be 1 day and 2 hours will be given away. In addition, we will also give away some first-class promotions. The middle-aged man nodded his head. After discussing some details, he left immediately. The cost of promoting a promotion at Wang Xian's level was very high. It was not every day that someone would promote it. Therefore, the middle-aged man reported it to the higher-ups on the AI and carried out the promotion very quickly. Wang Xian opened the AI and took a look. Immediately, he saw an advertisement about the Dragon Palace's War Pet Shop in the more eye-catching part of the AI. The effect of the promotion was very good. In less than 10 minutes, Wang Xian saw that the number of views of the Dragon Palace's War Pet Shop had reached tens of millions. Moreover, it was increasing at an extremely terrifying speed. Below the Dragon Palace's pet shop, all sorts of information were increasing crazily. Is this for real? Those 3,000 ice wolves came from the Dragon Palace's pet shop. Now the Dragon Palace's pet shop is going to be sold. I'm here to observe the rich people. It's awesome for a pet shop to carry out such a promotion. Damn, you actually said that your battle techniques are invincible and useless. Shop owner, you're in trouble now. The entire land of battle techniques will not let you off. One by one, the restores appeared below. Especially recently, the popularity of the video of the 1,000 wolves roaring and invincible in terms of battle techniques was extremely high. Now, such a huge advertisement was saying that the invincible in terms of battle techniques was a piece of trash. It was directly selling more than 3,000 ice wolves and saying that the amount of invincible in terms of battle techniques came from a Dragon Palace battle pet. This naturally attracted the attention of countless people. Moreover, this advertisement spread at a crazy speed. Not only because of the promotion of the AI, but also because it involved invincible battle style. After all, everyone in the Tianzi continent knew that invincible battle style was a peerless heaven's favorite and was now called trash. When everyone in the land of battle style saw this news, their faces were filled with shock. Some were furious and some cursed. But more experts were slightly shocked. All the experts knew that the invincible young master had the Ice Drill Crocodile, a level 5 Eternal God Lord mount. This Ice Drill Crocodile wasn't given by the Patriarch. When invincible battle technique came back, it was said that he rode the Ice Drill Crocodile to show off to the Patriarch and was thrown out. If it was not given by the Patriarch, then it might really be a Dragon Palace war pet. No, looking at the promotional video, all the experts were almost sure that the Icebreaker Wolf and the Ice Drill Crocodile came from the Dragon Palace war pet. This made many experts feel excited. If the Dragon Palace war pet was really introduced, they also had many Eternal God Lord war pets. How could they not be tempted by such a mount? If they bought dozens of Ice Wolf war pets, the warriors of their families would be able to unite their mounts, and their combat power would be greatly increased. Whether it's true or not, we must go and take a look. They dared to spend such a great price to promote it. It can't be fake. It says that there are hundreds of Eternal God Lord level war pets. If it's true, it's crazy. Many experts in the entire natural selection continent were tempted. Some of them immediately rushed to the mysterious sky territory. Chapter 2298. 2298 was a huge hit. The Dragon Palace pet shop was a huge hit. Selling more than 3,000 ice wolves was enough to attract countless people, not to mention many Eternal God Lord level pets. Countless people from the Tianzi continent quickly flew to the Heavenly Sea Island of the mysterious sky territory through the teleportation formation. With such a huge promotion and the scarcity of battle pets, everyone could predict that these battle pets would be sold out soon. First come, first served. You sell pets. Where is your war pet shop? What's its name? At this moment in the Dragon Palace's war pet shop, Wang Xian looked at the browsing volume on the AI and smiled. At this moment, a message was suddenly sent. He took a look and it was from a girl from the Shen Tian descendants. Dragon Palace's war pet on the Tianhai Island. Wang Xian replied immediately. Do you have the ice wolves at the peak of the godly state here? At this moment, a middle-aged man suddenly entered the shop and asked Wang Xian. Yes, there are some war pets in the shop. Most of the other shops can't fit them. There is a price on the wall if you want to buy them. Wang Xian looked at the person who came in and said to him, do you have the Northern Howling Sky Wolf's war pets here? Just as Wang Xian finished his sentence, another person came in. Look at the price. He didn't say much and pointed at the wall. The price is not expensive, the price is not expensive. I thought that the price would be more expensive. Give me 2 ice wolves. Where is your boss? When will I help tame them? A middle-aged man asked immediately. 3 days later, tame them according to the order of the buyers. Pay half of the deposit first. Those who don't buy will leave immediately. Those who pay the deposit will leave immediately too. Wang Xian replied indifferently. With a wave of his arm, he carved this sentence on the wall. This? The few people who entered the shop opened their mouths slightly. This service attitude was extremely arrogant. Are you the owner of this shop? Little brother, since you have the money to promote it on the AI, I think you can build a bigger shop. A middle-aged man said bitterly. It's too troublesome. I can barely sell it here. Wang Xian shook his head. Dragon Palace's war pet. Oh my god, is that war pet shop advertised by the AI yours? Do you really have thousands of ice wolves and war pets at the level of the Eternal Lord? Where are you? Where are you? Why didn't you reply? You rascal, I want to buy a pet. Please reply. While Wang Xian was chatting with the customers who had entered the shop, in a cultivation room in the Shintian Academy, a female student was staring at the AI with a face full of anger. This fellow actually didn't reply after saying one sentence. This fellow was able to kill a level 4 Eternal Lord by force. That war pet of the Dragon Palace might really be his. The girl mumbled to herself. Just now she was also joking with her sisters in the group chat. She didn't take Wang Xian's message to heart. However, just now she received a piece of news. That Wang Xian had killed an Eternal Lord level 4 powerhouse. When she heard that, her face was filled with shock. Suddenly, she recalled that Wang Xian had asked them if they wanted to buy a pet. Hence, she asked out of curiosity. However, she didn't expect that it was really the Dragon Palace's war pet. Sisters, big news, big news. Did you see the promotion on the AI? That Dragon Palace's war pet was opened by that Wang Xian. She immediately opened the group chat of her sisters and replied immediately. What? I saw the promotion too. The video directly said that invincible combat techniques are useless. Is the Dragon Palace's war pet shop really his? It can't be, right? The Dragon Palace pet shop is advertised with thousands of ice wolves and hundreds of Eternal Master battle pets. It can't really be that guy's pet shop, right? It's possible. I just got the news that that guy killed an Eternal Master level 4 expert in the academy. Maybe this pet shop really belongs to him. What, kill an Eternal Master level 4? Oh, let's go and have a look. It's on the Sky Sea Island. It's not very far. Me too. Me too. Soon the whole group became lively. All the girls went to take a look. War pets. Every cultivator wished to have a war pet. There are war pets for sale in the Dragon Palace? In front of the pitch-black ocean, the sounds of battle and the wailing of heaven and earth could be heard endlessly. In a command room in front of the battlefield, a girl was sitting there. She was wearing blue armor and her hair was tied up. She looked like a woman. She looked at the information on the AI and was pleasantly surprised. She immediately stood up. Last time she didn't manage to buy a war pet. This time she hoped that she could buy a good mount. This is. Is that the guy who opened the pet shop? This. At this moment she suddenly saw the group of girls chatting on the AI. Her eyes were filled with shock. Then she looked at the message sent by Wang Xian. Her eyes sparkled. She opened the AI and saw the message sent by Wang Xian. However, she didn't want to bother with it at all. Commander Xian, the general, just gave an order. He said that we should go to the Dragon Palace to buy the ice-breaking wolf. It would be best if we could buy all of them. At this moment, a young man walked in and said to the girl with a smile on his face, "Good, I want to buy a war pet too." The girl immediately stood up and walked out. "Umbrella, do you want to buy a war pet? I heard that the Dragon Palace's war pet has the ice drill alligator of the 5th level of the Eternal God Lord. How about buying the ice drill alligator for me?" At this moment, a middle-aged man walked in and said to the girl with a smile on his face. The middle-aged man looked at her with a hint of admiration in his eyes. "There's no need. I can't control my level 5 Master God. I'll buy it myself." The lady shook her head coldly and led the young man out immediately. The middle-aged man frowned slightly and followed behind him hurriedly. Countless experts were rushing towards the Sky Sea Island from all directions. At this moment, the Dragon Palace's pet shop was already packed with people. Wang Xian looked at the small shop which was filled with people and frowned slightly. Those who enter the shop for 2 minutes without buying will leave immediately. Those who come later line up one by one. Wang Xian walked to the entrance and shouted at everyone. At the same time, he waved his arm and a sign immediately appeared in front of the door. A few big words were written on the sign. Those who did not buy would leave immediately. Be it the sign at the entrance or the notice in the room, they were all extremely arrogant. This young man is the boss. I have to say he is really arrogant to the extreme. Our customer is simply a grandson. The shop owner is the boss. You can leave directly if you don't want to buy it. Since he is able to promote it on the AI, he must have the capital to be arrogant. It's a war pet and the price is also so affordable. Some people looked at the signboard that Wang Xian had set up and whispered among themselves. Chapter 2299. 2299 Rule 2299. What's going on? There's a line? Oh my god, there are so many eternal god lords. The Dragon Palace pet shop is crazy. Even eternal god lords are lining up outside? In the second hour after the artificial intelligence was promoted, more than 10 people were lining up outside the Dragon Palace pet shop. These people were all eternal god lords. As for those who wanted to join in the fun, they could only look around and didn't dare to line up. The scene on the streets of Tianhai Island also caused countless people to be shocked. There are so many people but they still have to line up. The Dragon Palace pet shop is too small. At this moment, 3 or 4 girls came to the front of the Dragon Palace pet shop and looked at the experts who were lining up in front of the shop in surprise. He didn't reply to our messages. One girl pouted in dissatisfaction. Come, let's go in and take a look. That guy might be too busy. A girl said and walked into the shop. We know the boss inside. A girl looked at the dozens of experts in line and said with a smile. Miss Xian, it doesn't matter even if you cut the line. A middle-aged man recognized them and said with a smile. Several girls smiled and immediately walked into the shop. As soon as they reached the entrance, they saw 20 to 30 people in the shop. Without hesitation, they immediately walked into the shop. Line up at the back. Don't you see the rules? However, when they entered the shop, a cold voice entered their ears, causing their bodies to stiffen. When they looked inside, they saw a young man staring at them coldly. It was that guy. The 4 of them opened their mouths slightly and revealed furious expressions. This guy actually made them line up at the back. Looking at his appearance, it seemed like he didn't recognize them. At the back, the experts who were lining up were slightly stunned and showed a stunned expression. This boss actually made several girls from the mysterious sky descendant line up. Their identities were equivalent to princesses in the mysterious sky territory. Even experts like them had to be polite when they met these few people. You rascal, you asked us if we wanted to buy pets. Now that we're here, you actually made us queue up? A girl stared at Wang Xian angrily and shouted directly. I called you guys? Wang Xian revealed a hint of doubt in his eyes. He sized up the 4 of them and felt that they were somewhat familiar. Oh, so it's you guys. Come in and take a look. If you want to buy them, hurry up. If you don't, please leave quickly. Wang Xian said directly to them. You. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the 4 girls were stunned again. A hint of anger appeared on their faces. What kind of attitude was this? When the other boys treated them, which one of them wasn't eager to please them? This guy. Wang Xian ignored the 4 girls as well. Initially, he thought that he could buy some war pets with the help of the girls' contact information and help him promote himself. In the end, he sent a message to them but no one replied to him. The only one replied after a long time. Now, Wang Xian didn't need the girls from the mysterious heaven's descendants to buy them anymore. The advertisement had already been advertised and it wouldn't be long before all the war pets in his hands could be sold. When the 4 girls saw that Wang Xian ignored them, they were furious again. They looked around and saw the price in the notice on the wall. Their faces turned black again. This guy is too arrogant. He's so arrogant even when selling war pets. A girl said in a low voice. Do you guys want to buy war pets? We can't control the Eternal Lord level ones. It's not a big problem for us to control the ice-breaking wolves that are at the peak of the godly state. I don't like ice-breaking wolves. The 4 girls chatted in a low voice. They frowned slightly when they saw the customers walking over to Wang Xian to pay the deposit. This was completely different from what they had expected. The other party didn't put them in his eyes at all. He even almost let them in. The four girls looked at the notice on the wall that said if they didn't buy the war pets within 2 minutes, they should leave immediately. They looked at each other. Pitch, get out. One of the girls said, while the other 3 left in a huff. When the 4 of them walked out of the door and saw that there were 5 or 6 more people lining up outside, they became even angrier. There are actually so many experts lining up. One of the girls muttered, feeling a little unhappy in her heart. The number of people lining up increased. At first there were only a dozen or so people, but now, in less than a few minutes, there were already more than 20 people. More and more people rushed over. At this moment, more than 10 people in front of them suddenly flew over on giant swords. They were all wearing the same white clothes, and there was a picture of a sharp sword embroidered on their chests. The group of people was emitting a sharp sword light. The more than 10 people's momentum was like a rainbow, and they directly fell toward the door, completely ignoring everyone around them. This is a person from the sword realm. He's an expert from the sword realm. The middle-aged man in the lead has mastered at least 7 or 8 laws. The dozen or so people landed in front of the Dragon Palace's mount and looked around proudly. The experts who were queuing up looked at them in surprise and disgust in low voices. Clap, clap. The dozen or so people raised their heads and looked at the Dragon Palace's mount in front of them with a smile on their faces. I want an ice-breaking wolf. A young man said eagerly. Let's go. The rest of the people smiled. The middle-aged man in the middle said indifferently and walked straight in. He completely ignored the signboard at the door. At the back, the Eternal Masters frowned slightly. However, no one said anything. They couldn't afford to provoke the sword domain. Are you blind? Line up outside. Wang Xian saw a group of more than a dozen people entering the shop. The small shop instantly became crowded. He frowned and said coldly, Kid, who are you talking to? A young man heard his words and immediately turned around. His eyes revealed a hint of coldness. Either line up or get lost. Wang Xian stared at the young man and shouted coldly, You. The young man's face turned red and looked slightly ferocious. He glared at Wang Xian with anger. Young man, we are from the sword domain. We heard that the Dragon Palace's war pets are here to purchase a batch of war pets. The middle-aged man in the middle frowned and waved at the young man as he said indifferently, If you want to buy a pet, then line up. I don't care where you guys are from. If you don't want to buy one, then get lost. Wang Xian didn't give the middle-aged man a good look either. He snorted coldly. The reputation of the Dragon Palace's pet shop had already been made known. The rules had to be made known as well. Otherwise it would be troublesome if everyone had no rules. Call your boss over. The middle-aged man's face darkened when he heard Wang Xian's words. Streams of sword rays appeared around his body. Boss, I want a northern howling sky wolf. At this moment, an old man walked to Wang Xian's side and looked at the people from the sword domain. All right. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the middle-aged man. If you don't scram, don't even think about buying one. Boss? The middle-aged man's expression changed and he looked a little embarrassed. Sword radiance flashed in his eyes. Chapter 2300. 2300 Overbearing Boss. Is he the boss of this place? The people from the sword domain looked extremely embarrassed as they stared at Wang Xian. They didn't expect this arrogant young man to be the boss. I'll give you 3 seconds. Wang Xian said to them indifferently. You. The young man held the sharp sword in his hand tightly. His face was filled with anger. Go out and line up. The middle-aged man in the middle had a gloomy expression. He growled and turned around to walk out. Boss, you are really awesome. You even dared to chase out the experts from the sword domain. Boss, you are really impressive. The ones who were chased out just now were a few princesses from our Shen heaven. Now there are a few experts from the sword domain. In the shop, some of the experts smiled when they saw how powerful Wang Xian was. Wang Xian smiled faintly. Other people had their backers, but he also had his own backers. Who was afraid of him? The people from the sword domain are out. They were chased out. They were so arrogant just now and were chased out by the shop owner. This shop owner is really powerful. These experts from the sword domain didn't give him any face at all. Since the shop owner is able to promote it so widely and has so many war pets, why would he be afraid of the sword domain? If they don't buy it, more people will buy it. Outside the shop, the experts were gloating when they saw the people from the sword domain being kicked out. When they first came here, they knew a little about the arrogance of the shop owner. They would buy the battle pets as soon as they entered the shop. If they didn't buy them, they would get lost. They were not dissatisfied with the shop owner's attitude. At least the battle pets in the Dragon Palace pet shop were indeed cheaper. And they had many pets. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, a flying machine flew over at an extremely fast speed in the sky. The flying machine was 10 meters in size, and it was emitting a dazzling metallic light. It's the 5th generation of the Heaven's Choice Fighter Jet, the Heaven's Choice Fighter Jet. Only the elites of the Tianzi mainland government can own a fighter jet. The arrival of the flying machine attracted the attention of many people. Looking at the 10-meter-long dazzling fighter jet, everyone's faces revealed a look of shock. The 5th generation of the natural selection fighter jet, the fighter jet exclusive to the strong. A middle-aged man flew down from the fighter jet and landed directly on the ground. His gaze swept across the Dragon Palace's war pet shop. He frowned slightly and took the initiative to walk towards the back. The group of strong people looked at the middle-aged man with a hint of fear in their eyes. Although they did not know this middle-aged man, they could be sure that he was a strong person. In the Tianzi continent, before the 4 major factions rose to power, they had their own federal government. After the 4 major factions rose to power, they occupied all corners of the continent. They still supported the former federal government, the former royal family, and the AI was controlled by the government. All the technology was provided by the government. The middle-aged man stood at the back of the line without saying a word. The people from the front line of the Black Sea are here. I didn't expect that the soldiers from the front line of the mysterious sky territory would also come to buy. A voice suddenly sounded and some people looked toward the road. 2 old men, a middle-aged man, and a beautiful woman in blue armor were walking toward them. They were dressed in military uniforms, and they could be recognized at a glance. The smell of blood was obvious that they were all powerhouses. A group of people strolled over and walked straight into the shop. When they saw the people lining up at the entrance of the shop, they were slightly stunned. So many people are actually lining up. The people lining up in front of us seem to be from the sword domain. They actually came to our shop to buy war pets? The middle-aged man at the front revealed a look of surprise in his eyes. His gaze then looked at the fighter jets in the sky, and the surprise on his face grew even more intense. It's normal. If we can buy those thousands of Ice Wolf packs and buy more than 10 Eternal Godlord war pets, this can also be considered a considerable increase in strength. The old man at the side said indifferently. Are we also queuing up? According to me, we will directly requisition them. If we requisition the beast tamer masters here, that would be even better. The corner of the middle-aged man's mouth curled up slightly as he said indifferently. I advise you to give up on this idea. The woman in blue armor looked at him coldly. If the boss here was really that young man, then this young man had a very deep relationship with Shen Tian. Umbrella, recruiting him will be very beneficial to our front line. The middle-aged man said to the woman with a smile. Should we go in directly or queue up? An elder frowned slightly and said. Go in directly, General. If the sword domain and the Federation buy too much, we won't have any share. This is our mysterious sky domain. The middle-aged man directly suggested. Go in, I know the boss here. The blue-armored woman hesitated for a moment and said. All right, let's go. The group of people did not hesitate and walked straight in. At the side, the middle-aged man from the Federation and the people from the sword domain looked over and frowned slightly. The people from the front line of the mysterious sky domain are here. We might not be able to buy much. The young man from the sword domain said with a dark expression. The people beside him also had ugly expressions. They would be chased out, but the people from the mysterious sky domain might not be chased out. The other party was a frontline soldier from the mysterious sky domain. The people now either have problems with their brains or their eyes. Can't they see the huge words at the door? However, just as the people around watched the soldiers walk in, a voice suddenly came from inside. Everyone outside the door was stunned, including the experts who were queuing up. The few soldiers who came to the door were also stunned. Their expressions changed. The lady in blue armor was also stunned. She looked inside. Wang Xian was also looking outside. His expression didn't change at all. There were already enough people in the room. There were even people who thought they were awesome and cut the queue to enter. They didn't even put him in their eyes. Wang Xian, are we here to purchase war pets? The lady in blue armor took a deep breath and said to Wang Xian. You know me? Wang Xian saw the lady in blue armor calling out his name. A hint of doubt flashed across his eyes. Who are you? Who are you? When the lady in blue armor heard Wang Xian's words, her face immediately turned gloomy. He actually didn't recognize her. Her face changed. The two old men at the side also looked at the lady in blue armor with slight astonishment. Didn't Commander Xian know her? No. This was a slap to his face. We are soldiers from the Black Sea front line and wish to purchase a batch of war pets. When the middle-aged man saw Wang Xian's expression, his face turned cold as he said coldly, "Do you see the words at the door?" When Wang Xian heard his words, he pointed at the door and spoke coldly. The middle-aged man opened his mouth. "Do you want me to say, get lost?" Before he could speak, Wang Xian continued to speak coldly. "Let's go." The lady in blue armor walked back with a sullen face. She didn't have the face to force herself to go in. The others didn't even know her, yet she was going to be slapped in the face. She gave Wang Xian a cold glance and walked towards the back. Chapter 2301. 2301 was sold for offending others. Everyone was stunned when they saw the woman in blue armor lining up behind them with a cold face. This female commander seems to be the current princess. Commander Xian En'er, the most powerful woman in the mysterious sky territory. She's not very old now and has already broken through to the eternal God Lord realm. She's a little weaker than the invincible talent in battle techniques in the land of battle techniques. This boss is too domineering. The people from the sword domain have been chased out. Even Commander Xian and the rest have been chased out. We have to follow the rules. Some of the experts looked at the entrance of the shop in shock. When the two elders saw that Xian and her had gone to line up with a bad expression, they also frowned and went back to line up. When the middle-aged man saw how embarrassed she looked, his eyes revealed a cold expression. He stared at Wang Xian with a cold gaze. He licked his tongue and smiled sinisterly. Then he walked out. When they saw this scene, the people from the sword domain were stunned. They didn't expect that this shop dared to chase out experts from the Xian Heaven domain. What the fuck was this shop so arrogant and overbearing? The people who were chased out just now were in a much better mood now. The cold expressions of the people from the sword domain also eased up a bit. This is the Dragon Palace's pet shop. This is it. At this moment, another major force arrived. More than 10 people were wearing the same clothes and the word fight was written on their chests. The people from the land of combat have also come. Many powerful forces have come for these pets. I didn't expect there to be so many experts. At this moment, there were already thousands of people surrounding them. When they saw the experts from the land of combat techniques rushing over, their faces were filled with shock. A Dragon Palace battle pet attracted so many people. I'll buy this later. The experts in the front line saw the experts from the Federation, the sword domain experts, and the frontline soldiers of the mysterious sky. Now the land of combat techniques was here again. In the entire Tianzi continent, 3 of the 4 major powers had come, and the Central Federation had also come. Only one had not come. The experts in the line had bitter expressions on their faces. They still did not want to participate in the purchase of battle pets. An Eternal God Lord expert immediately left. The other experts also smiled bitterly and followed him out. You want to line up? The people from the land of battle techniques looked over and swept their eyes over the people in the line. They were slightly surprised, but they did not directly go over. Instead, they walked to the back. The individual experts who were in line at the front had all left. The middle-aged man from the Federation was at the front, followed by the expert from the sword domain. Behind them were Xian Umbrella and the rest of the experts from the land of combat arts. Wang Xian's gaze swept across the outside. In fact, Wang Xian still had some impression of Xian Umbrella. Among the group of girls the last time, she was the only one who had reached the level of Eternal God Lord. However, he had sent her a message and didn't reply to her. Now he even wanted to come in directly. Who do you think you are? And you think I, Wang Xian, am a dog-eater? Therefore he deliberately ignored that girl. It wasn't that Wang Xian was narrow-minded. No matter what others did to him, he would do the same to others. Boss, we will come back in 3 days. Let's go out. I didn't expect so many powerhouses to come. The group of Eternal Lord powerhouses in the shop also smiled bitterly when they saw the 4 forces that were queuing outside. They hurriedly paid the deposit and walked out. With so many forces, they did not dare to stay here any longer. After the group of people left, the entire shop quickly became empty. The 4 forces that were queuing outside immediately walked in. The first one to enter was the middle-aged man. After entering the shop, he walked straight towards Wang Xian. Little brother. The middle-aged man walked over with a smile on his face. I saw the message you sent me, but I was too busy to reply in time. The middle-aged man was the one who came after Wang Xian sold all his battle pets last time. After the last battle pets were sold out, the 2 of them left their contact details. What war pets do you want? Wang Xian smiled at the middle-aged man. This middle-aged man left a deep impression on him. He was very strong and had comprehended 7 to 8 laws. He could be considered to be quite polite. Wang Xian had a good impression of this middle-aged man. How many war pets do you have here? The middle-aged man's eyes flickered as he asked directly. I sold some. Currently, I still have 3,511 Ice Wolves, 8 Eternal Lord Level 1, 95 North Howl Sirius Level 2, and 1 each at Level 3, 4 and 5. Wang Xian said directly to the middle-aged man. Hiss, there are actually 95 Northern Howling Wolves. There are both Level 3 and Level 4, Level 5 Eternal Lord level. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, everyone from the sword domain, the battlefield, and the front line of the mysterious sky revealed a look of shock. It was just as what the A had said. However, even though they were mentally prepared, they were still shocked, especially the 95 Northern Howling Wolves. These over 3,000 Ice Wolves were already so imposing when they stood in a row. How imposing was it when 95 Northern Howling Sky Wolves, who were at the 2nd level of the Eternal Lord, stood in a row. The breathing of the people around them was a little hurried. The middle-aged man's eyes were also burning with passion. Little brother, I represent the Federation and want all of your battle pets. The middle-aged man said without any hesitation. Huh? You want all of them? Wang Xian was slightly taken aback when he heard his words. He asked immediately. All of them? Aren't you asking for a lion? Our sword domain wants 1,000 ice-breaking wolves and 20 northern howling sky wolves. Our land of combat arts wants 2,000 ice-breaking wolves and 40 northern howling sky wolves. Before the middle-aged man could reply, the people from the land of combat arts and the sword domain immediately spoke up. All of them had cold expressions on their faces. I want all of them. Can you sell them? The middle-aged man glanced at the people beside him and asked Wang Xian. Sure. You didn't manage to buy them when you came to buy them last time. This time you can buy them first. As long as you want all of them, I'll sell them all to you. Wang Xian promised directly. Alright, I'll take all of them. I know the rules here. I've prepared a portion of the elixirs. It might not be enough now, but the deposit is enough. I'll give you the rest of the elixirs when you tame your battle pets. The middle-aged man revealed a smile. It was obvious that he had come prepared. However, he thought that Wang Xian didn't have so many battle pets this time, so he didn't bring enough elixirs. However, the deposit was more or less enough. Haha, good, that's cool. Wang Xian was full of smiles as he nodded immediately. This time he saved himself a lot of time. On the other hand, the soldiers at the sword domain, the battlefield, and the front line of the mysterious sky were all stunned when they saw that they had completed the transaction. It seemed that they had queued up and didn't manage to get any battle pets after entering. All of them were bought by others. Even Xian Umbrella was stunned. With so many battle pets, be it the ice wolves that were suitable for the warriors at the front line or the northern howling sky wolf, they were all excellent battle pets. Now that all of them were sold out, they could not get a single one. This made her face extremely ugly. The rest of them also did not look good. Chapter 2302. 2302 had offended someone and sold all of them. You sold all of your battle pets to one party and made us wait here for so long? The middle-aged man beside Xian Umbrella looked at the middle-aged man from the Federation who was buying all the battle pets. When he saw that the Dragon Palace's battle pet owner had agreed, his face revealed an angry expression. They were the soldiers at the front line of the mysterious Sky territory. Not only were they chased out just now, but now they were lining up to come in. All of their battle pets had been bought by one person. Especially these battle pets, they were extremely envious. How could they be willing to leave just like that? We are waiting here from all directions. Let's not talk about anything else. At the very least, we should split it evenly. The middle-aged man who was the leader of the sword territory also stared coldly at Wang Xian. His eyes were a little cold. That's right, Wang Xian. This is not how you do business. Xian Umbrella also chimed in from the side with a gloomy face. Everyone stared at Wang Xian in unison. Their eyes were filled with displeasure. Everyone, you can't blame the boss for this. The last time I came here, all of them were sold out. You can wait for the next time. The royal family of the Federation is preparing to build a war beast army. Everyone, please give us some face. The middle-aged man from the Federation saw the displeasure from the other three factions and spoke to them indifferently. We will naturally give face to the royal family of the Federation. However, we have to give face too. Let's not talk about other things. We have traveled so far and didn't even get a single one. Are we willing to do that? Will the others be willing to do that? An elder from the land of combat arts took a glance at the middle-aged man from the Federation and spoke indifferently. I didn't ask you guys to come over. Wang Xian heard his words and spoke indifferently. He didn't ask anyone to come over and beg them to buy battle pets. They came here on their own. You. The old man from the land of battle techniques instantly looked embarrassed. He stared at Wang Xian coldly. Little brother, you promoted it on the AI. We have yet to find an explanation for the fact that the peerless heavens favorites of our land of battle techniques are invincible in their battle techniques and are useless. The invincible in battle techniques is the rising star in the land of battle techniques. Not everyone can insult him. As the old man spoke, a majestic aura was brewing in his body. How can our invincible young master be insulted by just anyone? Furthermore, he is slandering us without any scruples. Behind the old man, a young man was also staring at Wang Xian coldly. His eyes were filled with coldness. Wang Xian had openly declared that his battle techniques were invincible in such a large-scale promotion. This had already aroused the dissatisfaction of many people in the land of battle techniques. This was especially so for the supporters of the land of battle techniques who were invincible in battle techniques. At this moment, they were already spouting nonsense in the comments section of the Dragon Palace's War Pet Shop in the Artificial Intelligence Department. It was just that Wang Xian didn't look at the Artificial Intelligence Department for a while. The other factions were slightly stunned when they saw this scene. They naturally knew that the Dragon Palace's War Pet had openly declared that its battle techniques were invincible and that it was useless. They naturally understood the identity of being invincible in battle techniques. It was fine if they didn't argue with the land of battle techniques, but once they did, the others wouldn't say anything either. After all, the land of battle techniques killed him first, so who would dare to stand up for him? It's fine if you don't say that the land of battle techniques is stupid, but since you're so familiar with the land of battle techniques, then fine, give me back the 15 Tier 5 Eternal God Lord pills that he owes me. Damn it, not only is he in debt for the ice drill croc that I sold him, he didn't reply when I sent him a message. It seems like he's trying to renege on his debt. If you guys can contact him and ask him to send me the elixirs, or you guys can give them to me. Wang Xian saw the anger on the faces of the few of them at the battle tactics ground. They were even gathering their aura. A look of disdain appeared in his eyes. That guy who is invincible in battle tactics still owes me money. Why are you guys standing up for him and acting arrogantly in front of me? Everyone from the land of battle tactics was stunned. The aura on their bodies disappeared instantly. Some of them looked at each other in dismay. Come. If any of you can contact Invincible in battle tactics, it's fine even if you can't contact his family. Wang Xian continued to speak to them. This time the people from the land of battle technique were speechless. They felt extremely awkward at this moment. They never expected Invincible battle technique to owe the Dragon Palace's war pet money. They were so arrogant that they wanted to avenge young Master Invincible. However, he didn't care about them at all and even asked for the debt with disdain. Damn it, this was so embarrassing. The atmosphere suddenly became strange. The rest of the people also looked at the people from the battlefield in astonishment. We are not clear about this matter, but if Invincible owes you medicinal pills, we will definitely pay you back. We definitely won't owe you anything. The old man from the battlefield said with a slightly red face. Next time if you have a battle pet, please inform us in advance. A middle-aged man next to the land of battle tactics said and looked at his own people. They had slipped away. Yes, they had left. They had never thought that it would be so awkward. Does Invincible really owe him pills? 15 Eternal God Lord level pills? That's not a small amount. It's really possible. Invincible's mount was not given by the Patriarch, nor could it be tamed by him. He could only buy it. Although he has money, he can't afford to buy a level 5 Eternal God Lord mount. He probably owes money. As the people from the land of battle techniques walked, they were discussing in low voices. They didn't represent the entire land of battle techniques to buy war pets. They were just a combat division that represented the land of battle techniques. Could it be that they were really paying back money for the invincible battle techniques? If they didn't pay back money, they would understand the virtue of the invincible battle techniques. The people from the land of battle techniques walked out of the shop and looked at the sword domain and mysterious sky frontline soldiers with gloomy expressions. Please give us some face too. The middle-aged man from the Federation heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that there was one less faction. He cupped his hands at the soldiers from the sword domain and the front line of the mysterious sky territory. If the Dragon Palace's war pet gets another pet next time, I'll inform all of you in advance. Wang Xian said calmly from the side. All right. The people from the sword domain hesitated for a moment. They didn't make a fuss anymore and turned around to leave. Little brother, you sold your war pets on the Sky Sea Island. At the very least, you are a member of the Shin Heaven domain. We should help our own people. The two generals from the Shin Heaven domain were unwilling to leave the sword domain and the land of battle techniques. Just as he said, the people from the Shin Heaven domain wanted to help the Shin Heaven domain. I'm late. There's nothing I can do. Wang Xian looked at the old man and said indifferently, This is Shin Tian's territory. It's our territory. The middle-aged man beside him said with a cold expression, Oh, what? Do you still want to snatch it from me? The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly as he looked at the old man in disdain. If you still have battle pets next time, please inform us in advance. Xian In'er said to Wang Xian expressionlessly before turning around and leaving. Let's talk about it later. The attitude of some of you here is not good. Wang Xian looked at the middle-aged man beside him and said sarcastically. Xian Umbrella paused and continued walking forward. Kid, this is the territory of Shin Heaven. This is Shin Heaven's territory. The middle-aged man at the side heard Wang Xian's words. He stared at him coldly and said, Scram. Wang Xian looked at him and said disdainfully, You. His expression changed. When he saw that the general and the rest had left, he clenched his fists slightly and revealed a sinister smile. Then he turned around and left. Chapter 2303. 2303 2303 forcefully requisitioned it. Little brother, thank you so much. You've offended some people. If you have any difficulties, you can come to the Federation. With your ability, the Federation and the royal family will not treat you unfairly. Seeing the other factions leaving one by one, the middle-aged man from the Federation said to Wang Xian. It's nothing. I have my own rules when I open my shop. Otherwise, whoever is stronger will be able to buy my items. What does that make me the boss? Since you are here to buy a war pet from me, you have to follow my rules. Wang Xian shook his head. He did not care about them at all. Wang Xian had sent Xian and her a message in advance when she wanted to buy a war pet. It was a pity that the other party did not reply. There was 1 to 2 hours before the promotion. If she came over during this period and wanted to buy a war pet, Wang Xian could sell all of them to her. He wouldn't be promoting them either. In fact, when Xian Umbrella saw Wang Xian's message, she didn't pay much attention to it at that time. Later on, when she saw the words of the girls in the group, she realized that the war pets of the Dragon Palace belonged to Wang Xian. Unfortunately, it was too late. Little brother, you really have a personality. Let me introduce myself. My name is Fugua. This is the deposit. Take a look. Fugua smiled when he heard Wang Xian's words. He took out his interspatial ring and handed it to Wang Xian. All right. Wang Xian nodded. This was a big deal. Can you go to the central royal family to help with the taming? Fu Guo hesitated for a moment before asking him. I'm worried. I think it's better to stay here. Wang Xian shook his head. He was really worried about going to other places. He didn't know much about the Fu Nation and the Federation and the royal family. In the Xian Heaven domain it was relatively safer. Once something happened, Xian Tianzi would take action. It's unnecessary for you to worry, little brother. However, I respect you too. I'll bring him here. Fu Guo smiled and said. All right, I'll be fine for the next 2 days. Wang Xian nodded. It's about the day after tomorrow. Let's contact each other then. Fu Guo confirmed the time. Damn that guy. He didn't give us any face at all. Who is that guy? Outside the Dragon Palace's pet shop, a middle-aged soldier from the front line of the mysterious sky walked out and said with a cold face. We know who he is. To be able to get so many battle pets, he is indeed not simple. An old man raised his eyebrows and said slowly. Unfortunately, if we can get these war pets, our strength will increase a lot, but the people of the mysterious sky territory won't sell them to us. Another old man snorted with slight displeasure. Let's wait for the next time. Last time, the Dragon Palace's war pets were able to get 20 to 30 sea monsters. This time we got so many war pets. Next time there might be more. Let's pay more attention to the situation here. Xian Umbrella said with a thoughtful look. That's all we can do. I think that kid's aura isn't weak. He seems to have mastered 5 laws. It's been a long time since such a powerful beast tamer master appeared in the Tianzi continent. The elder next to him sighed slightly. 5 laws. General Chu, are you sure? The middle-aged man's eyes were shining. I can't be wrong, I am very accurate in judging people. His aura is so young that it is somewhat strange. I don't know what the reason is. The old man who was called General Chu had a thoughtful look on his face. The group of people did not say anything else and directly flew toward the front line of the Black Sea. Returning to the front line, the 2 old generals left, and Xian Umbrella also returned to her temporary residence. Today she had been slapped in the face. Over 3,000 ice wolves, over 90 northern howling sky wolves, and a group of Tier 3, Tier 4 and even Tier 5 battle pets. If I can become a mount, the strength of my subordinates can be greatly increased. I can even make many people become my subordinates. When that time comes, my general can look forward to it. The middle-aged man watched as they left one by one, floating in the sky. His eyes flickered with a cold luster. However, General Chu said that fellow has mastered 5 laws, and his strength is the same as mine. Although beast tamers are relatively weak, he still has an ice drill crocodile. I need to find a few people. No, I can't find too many. 2 is enough, or else I'll split some of the benefits. The middle-aged man muttered, and his body moved, immediately flying toward the front line. Yong Xingping, are you serious? Are there really so many war pets? In a room on the front line of the Black Sea, a middle-aged man stared at Yong Xingping with shock written all over his face. How could I lie to you? The war pets of the Dragon Palace, the one that the AI is promoting, that kid didn't know what was good for him and sold all of his war pets to the royal family of the Federation. Yong Xingping narrowed his eyes, which were full of coldness. Are you asking me to join you to rob? The middle-aged man looked at him with sparkling eyes. This is the territory of the Mysterious Sky Clan, the territory of the Mysterious Sky Clan. We are the soldiers on the front line and have great power. We can forcibly enlist soldiers when necessary. Yong Xingping smiled as if victory was in his hands. Haha, you are really cunning. However, according to what I said, if we requisition people together, we can contribute to the front line when necessary. Even the outside world cannot say anything. The middle-aged man laughed, his eyes shining with sharpness. Requisition people? Let's talk about that later. Let's first requisition the war pets. At most we can give them some divine pills. Yong Xingping raised his eyebrows and shook his head. What's there to be afraid of? We're fighting the sea monsters at the front line. What's the big deal if we recruit one person? At most we can show our respect to the generals. The middle-aged man did not care at all. This was also why Yong Xingping had called him along. He was brave enough and could be said to be a thorn in the side. However, this guy was highly valued by a general. We'll see when the time comes. Yong Xingping smiled. Bring some people over. Do we need to inform the law enforcement department? No need. Let's kill him first and report later. The middle-aged man shook his head. He did not ask about the identity and background of the pet owner of the Dragon Palace. It was not that he was stupid but that he did not care. As the front line of the mysterious sky territory and the sea monsters, the Black Sea frontline had many experts and great power. Not to mention the others, the general overseeing this place was a peak eternal god-lord existence. There was another identity, the descendant of the mysterious sky. The experts who had received the guidance of the Dean were also ranked in the top 5 in the entire mysterious sky territory. Although they had selfish motives in obtaining so many war pets, most of them were still given to their subordinates. The promotion of their own subordinates was equivalent to the promotion of the soldiers on the front lines. When that time came, even if the general knew that they were against the rules, he would turn a blind eye to it. We might not be able to obtain high-level war pets, but we can still obtain one for each of the northern howling sky wolves. The rest will be given to the other brothers. When that time comes, the position of general. Yong Xingping looked at him and narrowed his eyes slightly. Haha, let's go. Another middle-aged man laughed wildly and flew out. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.